Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Wednesday morning. Eric Kjar, the new football coach at Weber State. How about that? The Corner Canyon coach makes the jump. I don't know if it'll work or not. I think it will. I expect that it will. Obviously, no guarantees. It's definitely worth a chance. Even if it blows up, I'm going to look back and say, it was worth taking a shot. I don't think it'll blow up. I think it'll work. How well will it work? I don't have a good way to judge that. Montana State in their league, they're playing in the semifinals of the NCAA tournament this week. I mean, the top of the league is really good. Now, obviously, Jay Hill had an awesome run at Weber State, and they were in a national semifinal, and they were in the tournament multiple times, a couple of other quarterfinal runs. So we'll see where it goes, but it's really intriguing. I want to see how his system does at the college level. It'll do well, I think. Will it do very well? Will it be great? That part, I think, is to be determined. All right, also last night, the Utah Mammoth get beat in Boston 4-1. Mike Folta, the radio voice, joined us yesterday. Radio voice of the Utah Mammoth joined us before the game. Obviously, we didn't know how that was going to go, but a bigger trend, how things are going in December for the Mammoth. Here's Mike on the Zone. Mike, good morning.
DJ, good morning. I'm here at TD Garden in beautiful Boston, and I'm sitting at a bar here at the rink getting ready for morning skate. If you see me put this to my lips, it is canned water. It is not an alcoholic beverage. I don't want anybody thinking I'm getting after it this early, but I have a beautiful view of what I think is the Charles River, watching the oyster farmers haul in with their fresh catch of the day. And we're getting ready for a second game of a 3-game road trip here against the Boston Bruins. So all is well. Good to see that that PK is cashing in that PTO a little early here on getting ready for the holidays, huh?
Exactly. I think he did connect with a little bit of family and all that. So I think he's getting ahead of the holiday curve right there. Now, when you look out the window, are you looking at the bridge in Bunker Hill?
There are multiple bridges. I don't see any redcoats retreating, so
okay.
I cannot confirm that it's Bunker Hill or not.
Neither confirm nor deny. That's worth the walk if you have time in the middle of the day.
I did do the Freedom Trail this summer, and I'm a big history guy, and it is very cool to walk around. You can see like the Old North Church and stuff, but I made the mistake of thinking that everything was going to be kind of condensed like in one area. And as I walked throughout the Freedom Trail, I soon realized that no, this is really spread out all across Boston and Charlestown. And I walked about 21,000 miles before lunch that day. So I was not a happy camper. And I was not wearing like walking clothes. I was in like khakis and like a dress shirt. And because I was there for a wedding and it was 85% humidity. I just come from Utah where there's no humidity. And so I was not loving life.
Cooking yourself right there. That's what you were doing. You know who else is cooking right now? How about Dylan Guenther? How many OT game winners? What should the over-under be for the season for him? What do you think?
I mean, he's on pace for like 7 right now, probably. Just doing some quick Purdue math off the top. But he's got 3, and we're 30-something games into an 82-game schedule. He's got 3 game winners, and he had another one on Sunday afternoon against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And what was a crazy come-from-behind win for Utah in that game. And I tell you what, DJ, like when Guenther has the puck on his stick in those big moments, it feels like, it feels like Mahomes, or that's a bad example now, I guess, but like Tom Brady when he's got the ball with 2 minutes left to go win the game. And I'm not comparing Guenther to these Hall of Famers. I'm just saying it's that same feeling you get when he gets the puck on his stick in a big moment. You're thinking like, all right, this one's in the bag. You can call in the dogs, put out the fire. This one's over. Like Gunther's going to go win it right now. Dating back to last year, he has more game-winning goals than anybody else since the start of last year, and he's only 22 years old. So he has that clutch gene, and I think more than anything, he's the guy that wants the puck on his stick in those big moments.
In basketball, there's an expression, swing, swing. And so that's where you get the ball and defense is running at you. And what it means is 2 passes, you swing to the other side of the court, you're going to get a wide open shot. And you can see fans have heard that so much that fans know it. And I'm curious because you said when Guenther has the puck on his stick, because I think he's at his best moments, whatever the hockey, and I don't know what the hockey lingo would be for swing, but when they move the puck to the other side of the rink, and he's already, man, the arms are up, the stick is in the air, like, I know what's going to happen, right? He's going to hit that thing as hard as he can, and he's probably going to put it on target, and just the only question is, reaction time for whoever's in goal. So,
yeah,
would you rather
you're talking about the
one
timer on the power play, right?
Well, the one timer on the power play is a thing of beauty. Yeah. So, would you rather have it on his stick, or would you rather have the puck on the other side of the ice thinking, here it comes? Maybe he hasn't even cocked and loaded yet, but it's coming. Or is he more dangerous with the puck on his stick?
That one-timer has been so effective for him on the power play for Utah. And what we saw in November when Utah struggled on the power play was that teams had started to cheat towards him. And penalty kills had started to really focus on him. And that made it hard for Utah's power play to get going because he had like three guys in front of him when he's trying to unleash one of those slap shots. I think he leads the league. I believe he leads the league with 6 slap shot goals, which includes those one-timers that he's firing on the power play. So that's just one of the best shots in the league right now is a Dylan Guenther slap shot. But he's also made a concentrated effort this season to score in a variety of ways. And we've seen that, like him going to the net hard and using his underrated speed to create space as well. So I think it would be bad for us to discount the other ways that he can score outside of just that one timer that everybody thinks about with him. It's like that Ovechkin shot, right? As a right-handed shot on the left circle, shooting the one timer from there. But he scored a variety of ways this year. He scored on breakaways. He's able to change his release angle on the shot. I equate it to like a basketball player being able to shoot off platform or off balance and still connect. He can kind of do that too, where even when he's not in that full windup, if he's just shooting a wrist shot per se, he can change the angle at the last moment to fool goalies. And it's not always as much the speed with which he beats goalies on the shot, but a lot of times it's that angle that changes at the last second, which alters the geometry of the whole play for these goalies. 15 goals on the year for Gunner. He now leads the team in that category and is on pace for a career year.
When it's 3-0, are you breaking out stories figuring this is over, or are you sitting there thinking, Thurl Bailey, the TV analyst for the Jazz, has a phrase whenever you start talking to him about big, he lets his voice break on purpose. Thurl has a super deep voice. If you ever hear him sing an anthem or something like that, it's unbelievable. But he'll go, it could happen. It could happen, which is his way of saying, yeah, it could happen. It's not going to happen. Calm down, DJ. So were you thinking it could happen, or were you thinking, you never know?
We definitely thought it could happen because the day before for Pittsburgh, they had played the day before. They had played Saturday. Utah played them Sunday. The day before on Saturday, the Penguins had blown a 5-1 lead in the third period. And they had actually blown third period leads in 3 straight games coming into Sunday's game. And so we were thinking, like, we got a chance here. And up to that point through 2 periods, the Mammoth had been outplaying Pittsburgh, even though the goal, the scoreboard didn't reflect that. But the Mammoth have been getting way more shots, way more high danger chances. And so you felt pretty good about the team's game, even though they didn't have anything to show for it. And I told our producer, Will Trebshaw, on Hockey Day in Utah, I was like, all right, guys, if I'm going to start the third period like the comeback has started. And then if it gets better, if it doesn't get any better, or if it stays the same, if it stays 3-0, or if it gets worse, then, yeah, we'll start telling jokes. But we got that first goal just over a minute into the third period to start the comeback. And talking with Penguins personnel after the game, they were saying, oh yeah, once the Mammoth made it 3-1, we knew it was over. We knew the comeback was on. And so they had that inkling of doom, whereas at 3-1, I wasn't quite like all the way in, but going off of past results for Pittsburgh, we knew that we had a chance.
They're doing all this without Cooley. Do you have any update on his timeline, how he's doing? I don't know if you get to interact with players who are rehabbing that much. What can you tell people?
Yeah, the team announced that he's going to be he's going to be out for at least 8 weeks. And when that was announced, which was a week ago, that basically created this timeline of the Olympics for Cooley to potentially come back. And so we're expecting him to be out at least until that Olympic break, which starts in early February. And so when it was announced, those 8 weeks basically take you all the way up until the Olympic break. And then that Olympic break gives Cooley a little bit more cushion to rehab and come back. And it's a bummer for a lot of our training staff because the broadcasters during this 3-week Olympic break, like, I'm going to be in Mexico. I'm going to go home, relax, like shut off the brain for a little bit. But we have a bunch of guys who are going to be practicing, rehabbing, things like that over the break. So our poor trainers and equipment staff, they are basically like on the clock during the break. So there's not really an off time for them. Those guys are the glue across the NHL that keeps everybody held together, the trainers and the equipment staff. So props to them because they're going to be working with Cools during the break to try and get Utah's star back for that last push of the year. 25 games after the Olympic break. So as long as Utah's in the mix up until then in February, like, they'll have a chance to make the postseason.
The postseason race, I mean, there's a bunch of teams clumped together. There's so far to go. I don't know how much to read into that. I don't know if you want to read into that. If you think there's anybody in that group you think is destined to pull away, maybe somebody's in that group you think is destined, to drop to the bottom and won't stay in that group. And the other thing that's influencing this right now is the team is clearly so much better at home than they are on the road. And they played so many more road games than home games. So you factor those things in. Where do you think this race is going?
Well, I think the schedule definitely gets better for the Utah Mammoth after Christmas. Since the second week of November all the way up until Christmas, this team is in the middle of a stretch right now of 21 games in 37 days. So just quickly off the top, that's playing every other day with a bunch of back-to-backs thrown in. That's tough. And especially in Utah's division right now, which I think is fair to say is the group of death in the NHL. You've got Colorado, who's the best team in the league by far. You have a Dallas team that was one of the odds-on favorites to win the Cup at the start of the year and is still right there. Then you have Minnesota team that just traded for Quinn Ewers, who's one of the best defensemen in the world. Those are the three teams that are currently in front of Utah right now. And it would be really tough for the Mammoth to catch any one of those three, I think. But Utah is currently just outside of the playoff picture by like a tiebreaker. But they have the same amount of points as the teams that are inside those wild card spots. The Mammoth are where they need to be. And kind of our notion heading into this year was, like, just get through this tough part of the schedule up until Christmas. Just stay in the race, stay within striking distance through Christmas, because it's been a really tough schedule from November into December with all the road games that you mentioned. That's a huge factor. Mm-hmm. This schedule is going to get much more Mountain Blue friendly come March and April, when the team's going to be at home a bunch and there's going to be a bunch of Central Division games on the back half of the schedule, which will be opportunities for Utah to make hay in the standings. So this team is in a fine spot right now. It was not the November that anybody wanted, where Utah had the worst points percentage in the league. But the team already has as many wins here in the month of December as they had in November. Things are looking up. And even though you don't have Logan Cooley, this team has now strung together several performances where they're playing the way they need to, even if they're not getting the results. And this has always been a process-oriented group under head coach Andre Turney. And that process is going to start swinging back in their favor once we get more home games and once the schedule opens up a little bit after the holidays.
Well, I like what you said about group of death, because with Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota, they have 3 of the top 4 point totals in the league, and they're all packed in the same division. So catching those 3 is a tall task, but all those other teams, whether it's Edmonton, San Jose, the LA Kings, whoever, all bunched up there, and someone will rise and someone will fall. We'll see what happens with the with that home road split, because this back to back here is road games 21 and 22, and they've only played 14 home games. So pretty lopsided there. The big moves, you mentioned one of the trades. There have been a couple big moves here, and actually we've had a general manager fired. Anything happen around the league that really catches your eye that you will think have an impact on the Mammoth? How does it everything comes back to the old joke. How does it affect me, Al Franken?
Well, it's hard not to start with the trade that the Minnesota Wild made to acquire Quinn Ewers from the Vancouver Canucks. Quinn Ewers is, I think, pretty safe to say the second best defenseman in the NHL behind Colorado's Cale Makar. And so now you essentially have the three best defensemen in the NHL, all in one division, all in Utah's division. Cale Makar of Colorado, Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars, and now Quinn Ewers of Minnesota. So Bill Guerin, who's the general manager for the Minnesota Wild, is really pushing his chips towards the middle to try and vault Minnesota into championship contention. They've been a playoff team the last several years, but they haven't necessarily been in that upper crust of the Western Conference. And now adding a player like Quinn Ewers, that totally changes. Utah has been very good against Minnesota dating back to last year. The Mammoth have never lost to the Wild in regulation. They lost to them in a shootout once last year, but they beat them 4 out of the 5 times they played them, including a game this year when the Mammoth just boat raced Minnesota up in St. Paul. So you have to think that those figures have a chance at changing, with Minnesota getting a lot better on the back end. So that's going to make it tougher for Utah. And it kind of, I don't want to say it cements the Mammoth into a wild card spot, but it makes it really hard for Utah to get anything better than a wild card spot in the playoffs, just because they're already 8 points back of Minnesota as we wake up this morning. Minnesota just became a better team, and you would need either injuries or, a coach getting fired essentially for the Mammoth to take one of the top 3 spots in the Central Division. So those 3 teams are all going for it right now. The good news is that Utah has been really good against the best teams in the Central. They've beat Colorado this year, not many teams can say that in the NHL this season. They beat Colorado. They should have beat Dallas. They lost by 1 goal. They beat Winnipeg, was the President's Trophy winning team from a year ago. They've slipped a little bit right now. Hellebuck's injured, but Utah beat Winnipeg when Hellebuck was healthy. So that was one of the better wins of the year. And they've beat Minnesota. So of those 4 teams that are kind of at the top of the Central Division with Utah, the Mammoth have beat 3 of them, and the other one, Dallas, they lost by 1 goal. They should have won. So Utah is stacked up really well against the best teams in the Central. It's just a matter of doing that consistently and taking care of business against the other teams on your slate, and that means trying to pick up some more points on this road trip.
All right, well, Boston and Detroit back-to-back. You enjoy that. And if you have time, you don't want to be walking around town. If you have time, that 1-hour bus tour that loops you to all the sites where you can just sit and not break a sweat, ask for the driver, Vinny from the North End. I was on that, and Vinny from the North End, he's got patter, he's got jokes, he's got nonstop. So,
Yeah, there's no way Vinny from the North End doesn't have a wicked Boston accent, too, I bet.
Wicked. One of his deals is that there's the Boston Commons, and there's basically a huge cemetery in the middle of downtown. So he pulls up and he points out Samuel Adams' grave, second president. And then he points over, no, that was John Adams, wrong Adams. But anyways, he points out Samuel Adams' grave, founding father. And then he points out this famous bar in Boston. He says, that's the one place where you can sit and you can drink a cold Sam Adams while you look out at a cold Sam Adams. That's the kind of stuff Vinny's just doing. And he's got something for every stop. He's got his patter. He's got his whole. At one point, I was sitting like 4 seats back, and I'm killing time on a road trip, right? I was like, bum, and he picks up and goes, that was good. Do that again. he wanted.
I am all in for bus tours. Like, sign me up for a bus tour any day of the week.
You got an hour to kill in the middle of the day for sure, right? After the skate, before the game, got your homework done. Mike, we appreciate it as always. Enjoy the road trip. We'll see you back here in Utah.
All right, TDJ.
All right, there's Mike Folta. Now, they went on to lose after he did that interview yesterday. They went on to lose 4-1 last night. We'll get to the best of the postgame show next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Well, the Utah Mammoth fall in Boston last night. The Bruins beat them 4-1. Let's get to the best of the postgame show.
DJ and PK, the Utah Mammoth got off to a nice start on Tuesday night in Boston. An early power play goal gave them a 1-0 lead, and after one, it was a 1-1 game after the Bruins tied it up with a power play goal of their own. Utah outshot Boston 11-6, 5-on-5. 13-7 overall in the period. Out-attempted them 27-13. Started feeling a lot like that Pittsburgh game where Utah out-attempted the Penguins 78-30. But in the second period, the Bruins scored 23 seconds in, and then 42 seconds after that, Utah took a penalty, and the Mammoth were really never able to regroup the rest of the way. It was a 2-1 game for over 30 minutes. Mammoth had a couple power plays trying to tie it before the Bruins added a pair in the third period, and they beat the Mammoth by a count of 4-1. For Utah, that power play's going. Now 6 for the last 23. That's over 25% in their last 8 games after it kind of struggled a bit in November, but back and rolling it was again, and it was the second unit again for the Mammoth. It was Barrett Hayton making it 1-0 in the first.
Hayton, left wing, down to the 20-year-old boot. Dursey straight away, dials one up. Hayden scores! Barrett Hayton walks one in off the setup from Sean Dursey. And the Mammoth are out to a 1-0 start. The second unit scores again, a power play goal.
But as we said, periods 2 and 3 for Utah were a bit of a struggle. Just 8 shots in the final 40 minutes against a Boston team that's got some of the biggest defensemen in the league. They've got the heaviest defensive core and the third tallest. And they held Utah to just 5-on-5 shots and 8 shots overall in the final 40 minutes, outshooting the Mammoth by a count of 16-8, just not able to generate really anything more. So they'll split the season series against Boston, which is pretty respectable. The Bruins now in the season, a record of 20-14. They've won 7 of 10, and they've won 17 of 25 after they started the year 3-6, which included a 3-2 defeat at the Delta Center in October. So the Mammoth going to head to Detroit. They'll be there tonight. It's a 5:30 face-off on TNT, so we'll have your only local broadcast on Hockey Night in Utah on the radio on the air at 4:30. Karel Vejmelka will be back in between the pipes after Vitek Vanacek started for the Mammoth on Tuesday night, and the light is finally at the end of the tunnel for Utah. If they get a win, they can make it 2 or 3 on the trip, come back above 500, and potentially be back in that wild card spot in the Western Conference after starting the season with over 60% of their games on the road. Tuesday night, Utah hit the second half of their road schedule in only their 35th game of the year, and starting on Friday against New Jersey, over 60% of their games the rest of the way will be at home. 27 of 46 contests at the Delta Center, and after tonight, Utah will have played 7 of their 11 back-to-backs on the season. So schedule starting to get a little friendlier for Utah, just looking to push one over the top and bring home 4 out of a possible 6 points on this trip, and 2 of 3 tonight in Detroit. Head coach Andre Tourigny wasn't particularly enthralled after the game about that 4-1 contest. Let's hear from him afterwards.
Not happy about the way we react after the first period, and I think we were not physical enough, defensively, and offensively. We did not win enough battle, and we didn't get below their goal lines enough. We tried to play in front of them, and that's why they shut us down.
Hayton mentioned it was the details that kind of slipped towards the end of that first. What did you see in terms of the details that you wanted to clean up, I guess, for the rest of the game?
That was a message after the first. We dominate, and we start to feel too comfortable. The level of urgency went down a little bit. We warned them, but obviously they score right away from the get-go, so that's unfortunate.
Do you want to see more accountability when it comes to that in the moment as opposed to reflecting on it after the fact?
Well, I want more ownership. I don't know if it's accountability or ownership. I think we knew. We're in their building. We dominate the first period the way we did. We knew they would push back. So there's one thing to say it in the room. There's one thing to knowing it. It's another thing to buckle up and to push back and be ready for their answer and just double down on their answer instead to kind of be the victim of their push.
Quick turnaround, another game tomorrow. What can this team do in this next 24 hours to reset and then go into that game strong?
Yeah, we'll address it. First, sometimes, you need to let it hurt a little bit. It's not just the loss. It's the way we lose it. I don't like it. So I think when you play against those kind of team who are physical, down low, you need to be able to answer the bell, and we did it.
On a deeper level, what does accountability and ownership kind of look like after a loss like this?
Well, first of all, I think like I said, you need to. That has to hurt a little bit, you know what I mean? It's, but at the same time, we're playing tomorrow. So if you go too low, it will be tough to climb it for tomorrow. So I think you need to let it hurt and then be professional, be mature, and assess what we could have done better, fix it, and get at it tomorrow and push back.
Barrett Hayton getting his fourth of the year, his second on the power play from Sean Durzi, who now has 3 points in 4 games. Daniil Boot now has his first NHL scoring streak with a point in 2 straight games. We heard from Barrett Hayton after the contest.
So after we talked, obviously, in the first, you guys had a great first period. Where do you see the difference between that first period and the way the rest of the game went?
Yeah, I think even in kind of last 5 minutes of the first period, we had instances where details just slipped a little bit. Obviously, it didn't bite us there, and we had a push in the first. But those are the things that it creeps in, and if you don't kind of cut that off right away, it costs you, and it's frustrating being here talking about that right now.
We've talked a lot about emotion on the bench, especially in games of adversity. Where was the emotion on the bench in the second and the third towards the end of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think emotionally and all that, we were in it, we were fighting, but I think it's just those details. I don't think it was really something emotion-wise. I think it's just just locking those in, and yeah, I mean, it's frustrating right now. Yeah.
That second power play unit continues to find success back-to-back games with the goal. Yours tonight. Can you just tell us what's going well with that unit right now?
Yeah, I think we had some good movement there in Pittsburgh. Just found some rotations being interchangeable, always having a guy at the net and kind of having an attack mindset. I thought we did a really good job on that first power play. It's tough, though. We got a big power play there at the start of the third, and we get out there and we didn't execute. And those are the moments we want to be in, and we want to come up big for this group. And yeah, it's frustrating not getting that done.
It's a quick turnaround, though. You have a chance to redeem yourselves tomorrow night. What do you want this team to focus on in this quick turnaround to make sure you come out with 2 points tomorrow? Yeah,
tomorrow night's a huge one. We need to rebound quick and be all in on that game. We got to be locked in from the get-go. A lot of urgency, and yeah, it's a huge one.
How can you guys do a better job at managing energy? Obviously, a hot start, but then kind of cooled off.
I think a lot goes into that. I think some of those decisions and execution and working for each other to kind of help support that execution makes a big difference. I think obviously energy-wise, we have no excuse there. We've taken care of ourselves to be prepared on that aspect. I think it's just managing the game better so we can kind of tilt the ice. I think that's a big thing in games, and a big thing we've talked about in the second period in general, just managing it. Obviously, long change, you can really tilt the ice in the second period with that. You can get lines turned over and try to get them pinned down. I think in the first period we did a really good job working below the goal line, keeping that puck moving. Obviously, they're a team with some big bodies in the back end. They pin well, they play heavy, but we need to move the puck quick, support quick, win those battles, and get to the net front. So I think that's kind of a big thing, just managing that, and that's really what it comes down to. I don't think it's per se like an energy thing or something like that.
Where do you want to see this group hold each other accountable going into the next game?
Yeah, I mean, we got to look ourselves in the mirror first and foremost. You got to take accountability for your actions and doing everything you can for this group to win, and that's a huge thing. We'll do that tonight and reset. Like I said, tomorrow's a huge game.
Thank you.
So as we said, back at it coming up tonight, 5:30. The puck will drop with Mike Folta and Nick Olczyk, nationally televised on TNT. And the pregame coverage with Hockey Night in Utah at 4:30. And our latest edition of Mammoth Daily has dropped. We're with you Monday through Friday, and we've got our Wednesday Odd Man Rush in today's episode. We'll talk with John Marino. Mike will give us his morning after following last night's game in Boston, and we'll look ahead to tonight against Detroit on Apple, Spotify, the Utah Mammoth YouTube page, Mammoth Plus, and SEG Plus. Plus, anywhere you get your podcast. DJ and PK, have a good Wednesday, and we'll be back tomorrow to hopefully recap a victory from Detroit.
There is the best of the postgame show. When we come back, we're talking Utah Jazz basketball with Ben Anderson. They're 4-2 in their last 6. They're 5-3 in their last 8. They're winning a lot. What's more important, winning games, developing players, or holding on to that draft pick? Because right now it looks like they can't do both. Stay with us. That's next. Ben Anderson now sitting in for the final hour of the show. Thank goodness. I'm going through withdrawals. There's been no one here to tell me I'm wrong, no one here to tell me an idiot, no one to point out what I'm obviously missing. I feel like I've gone through like some kind of 6-day cleanse here without PK. And tomorrow, it's on. But why wait? An hour right now. What am I missing? What's gone wrong? Let's start with your Utah Jazz.
Mine?
Yes.
I cover the team.
Not in the... Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so you are therefore responsible for explaining each and every move they make.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to figure it out myself.
No, you're a Utah lifer. And the Jazz are in the DNA of the community. That's really what I was getting at. And you grew up... where'd you go to high school?
Highland High School.
Highland High.
Good week for us. Shout out Morgan Scally.
A Highland Ram is calling the shots up on the hill.
Hey, buddy. If you need any of your old high school friends, come to work. We didn't go to high school together. I missed him by a few years.
Yeah. I watched the Jazz play last night, and I thought, am I seeing this? Is this real? The Jazz have now won 4 out of 6. They have won 5 out of 8. They are too good to tank, but I don't know that means they're any good. When you beat a team like Dallas, which might be in tank mode itself.
They were tanking.
I think the Mavs might be interested in pairing A.J. DeBonsa with Cooper Flagg. That would be a pretty imposing duo.
The Mavs are interesting. They only have this pick this year for the foreseeable future. They mortgaged everything else to build around Luka Doncic, so they recognize this is their last chance to get a guy of that ilk to pair with Cooper, and otherwise they're going to have to do it with whatever they get in an Anthony Davis trade. Mm-hmm. And Derek Lively comes back next year after his injury, and they're going to build with that core, which is very good.
They're going to find worker bees.
But yeah,
they're going to have to find late picks who work their way into being very good basketball players. But this is a chance to get a transcendent talent.
And the nice thing is they already have the guy that everyone's looking to get. You have to have a top 10 player in the NBA to win, and they have Cooper Flagg, and he's going to get there.
And now they're getting greedy.
Yeah.
Now they'd like to have 2 of the top 10 players in the NBA. So as the Jazz excel offensively during that game, I'm thinking, are they really that good? Because I've seen them play good teams in the NBA. It didn't look anything like this. Now, at some point, young teams figure it out. And sometimes they figure it out all at once and they take big jumps. It doesn't have to be a gradual, straight-line graph. So I'm curious what you think. How much are they figuring out? Because that was a 39-point performance for Keontae, followed by now a 37-point performance against Dallas. How much is he figuring it out, and how much is it, hey, once you take all the 7-footers off the floor, it's easier to score over the 6'9" and 6'10" guys?
I am of the opinion that what Keontae's doing is extraordinarily legitimate. I've bought in, and I have been skeptical about it because I remember the last 2 years, and I saw the flashes, and then you would see a downturn. And there might still be a couple of stretches here where he doesn't play superbly well, but he's answered all of his bad games with seemingly even better games.
The best thing I saw about him was a couple weeks ago when they played that back-to-back with Houston. And I thought the bad habits of the first 2 years were on full display in the first game. And there was a particularly difficult stretch that was brutal. And the next day, bang, he was back. It's like, so the ability to sit down and say, now, as he gets deeper in his career, hopefully he'll figure that out at halftime. And then he'll figure it out after a quarter.
Yeah.
And then he'll figure it out while he's on the court and it's happening.
Yeah, before the game. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So you want that. But I did think, okay, that mattered. That he could turn it around the next night and all the bad habits were gone. And there are a bunch of good habits and he had a much stronger performance.
And here's why I buy some of what Keontae's doing. I'm just doing some quick math here. And look, this is somewhat oversimplified. When your good players play well, your team wins. But
did the good players play that well? And Filipowski had a really strong game. I mean, he scored it.
And Lauri Markkanen played well. But you know what? The Jazz haven't always won when Lauri Markkanen scores big points. And not every team wins when their younger players score big points. No, here's the numbers on Keontae.
One guy can't get it done, but they had 6 guys in double figures, and they had 3 guys over 20.
Jazz have played 25 games now. They're 10 and 15 on the season. When Keontae's below 20 points per game, or in a game, the Jazz are 2 and 8. When he's above 20, the Jazz are 8 and 7. When he's above 30, again, when you have a guy score 30, your team's more likely to win. It's not that difficult, but the fact that it is actually mattering when it's on the floor,
right.
The Jazz are 5 and 1 when Keontae scores 30 or more. Meaning, he's doing these in big games. He's doing these in real games. And when he is playing well, it's impacting winning, which is something that is not always the case.
And there's the other end of the floor, where defensively I thought they were a complete mess to start the game. They gave up 43 points in the first quarter, and they never did get their arms around Cooper Flagg. I mean, he just kept going. But in the second half, 24 points in the third, 30 in the fourth. I can live with that. Mm-hmm. That's winnable. But again, I felt like the whole game was distorted. It was like funhouse mirrors. I felt like I was at the carnival. Everything was distorted because you don't have rim protectors at either end. The lane's wide open. The message from the coaches is attack. And to the credit of the Jazz coaches and the young guys, however the coaches delivered the message, it was heard from the very first play. Ace Bailey, don't be late to the game.
Yeah.
The best 15 seconds were the first 15 seconds. That jumper, that was clunky. And it comes hard off the rim. And he never stops moving, never gives up the play, and grabs the rebound with one hand and throws it down. It's like, that's why you go to NBA games. Even if you don't know anything, there is a level of skill and athleticism in this game you don't get that many places in the world. And you get it at NBA games. And that was awesome. I can watch a game quiet. I was sitting with 2 people. I think I scared them.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
And they didn't have to be looking when it happened. They were looking at food.
It was a very enjoyable game. It was a very entertaining game.
But is it real? Or they're played a team in the bottom third of the league and they're tanking, so how much should I put into this? Because when they play a team in the top third, when you get to the playoffs, the whole championship thing we talk about, you usually have to beat 3 of the top 10 teams in the league in the playoffs. You might get an easy first rounder. Maybe.
They're not ready to do that. Breaking.
Slow down. I'm taking notes.
They are just clearly better than the worst team in the NBA and probably better than the 5 or 6 worst teams in the NBA. And that puts them right on the cutting edge of how do you hold on to this draft pick. And what was interesting about last night's game was despite the fact that they won, they went into this game with the design of holding on to their draft pick. And by the way, this was not the first time this season. I would go back to 2 weeks ago in Brooklyn when they sit Yusuf Nurkic, and he had a rib injury, but they also choose to sit Kevin Love in that same game when Kevin Love could have just played. Yes, he only plays one end of a back. But
they could have flipped it.
They could have flipped it. And he probably wanted to play in Madison Square Garden. He probably wanted to play against the Knicks. I totally get that. But you just say, hey, man, we're paying your paycheck. We need you to play against the Nets because we don't have a player.
But they thought maybe they could lose to the Nets.
But they thought they could lose to the Nets, and that would be a good loss.
And they didn't.
And they didn't. And then they thought, well, we could probably lose to the Dallas Mavericks at home because we accidentally beat the Memphis Grizzlies on the road. So Svi Mykhailiuk, who's been, honestly, arguably maybe the Jazz's 3rd best player as far as consistency goes, he's not going to play at all. Kevin Love's not going to play at all. Nurk's going to rest, not out for injury. He's not going to play at all. All these veterans with some wisdom of how to win are going to sit. And the Jazz thought maybe that'll be enough. And Keontae George is too good for that now. And Lauri Markkanen is too good for that now. And even when you get a player like Kyle Filipowski.
So I was told last night before all this happened, literally right before it started, and I was told they are going to hold on to that draft pick. And then I followed it up with, A, B, C, blah, 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 to which, the report, they are going to hold on to that draft pick, which is like hitting you upside the head. Yeah. Hey, stupid, listen to what I am saying. Listen to the words I am saying to you. They're going to hold on to that draft pick. And then you get the whole thing of what Austin Ainge said at the microphone, which can be quickly explained with, you asked him a question that can only be answered one way. His first official act sitting atop the Jazz pyramid should not be make the commissioner mad and get the owner fined.
Right.
So he said what he said, and he did say it, and people should be held accountable for their words. But context matters. Did you really think he was going to anger the commissioner and get the owner fined at his first press conference?
And I have no doubt the Jazz can pull the parachute and figure out how to hold on to this draft pick. After all, they are only 4 wins better than the third worst record in the NBA.
Knowing full well that everyone else is going to do that too.
But other teams are going to. So if you're going to do it, you're going to have to really seriously
How
commit
many
to it.
other teams? Minimum 8, I think. Minimum.
Yeah, I'm trying to
maybe
do it off
9
the
or 10.
top of my head. We can
I don't
pull up
have
the
to.
standings. Yeah,
I will pull up the standings then, and the Wizards are absolutely going to
Wizards
do it.
are doing it more than anybody.
The Pacers are going to do it.
I think the Pacers are going to do it. Maybe not at all costs, but
Really?
they've won, 6 of their last 10? Something like that? 6 of their last 12?
4
of 10.
4 and 6 in their last 10.
But they're winning games more than they were to start the year. And look, you can pull the plug in the second half of the season, as we've seen the Jazz do, but they aren't.
They beat the Wizards, the Kings, and the Bulls twice.
Yeah.
They've also lost to the Wizards.
Yeah.
So
By a lot.
Split 2 games with the Wizards. That's what.
But
2
you're right.
games
The
with
Pacers
Bulls.
are going to be in this conversation. No question about it.
The Charlotte Hornets.
Hornets are going to do it.
Okay, so that's 4 teams in the East. The Pelicans. No motivation for them. They should try to win, but maybe they're just not good enough.
They should get better throughout the year.
They've given up their pick, so they can't get one of the elite draft picks.
There's no reason for them to continue to pull the plug over the second half of the season. In fact, it will be better for their PR if they give the Hawks a worse pick.
Yes. The Kings.
Yeah, the Kings' report came out this morning. They're trying to trade all their veterans.
That's 6.
Yep.
The Jazz would be 7. Dallas is 8. Clippers
don't own their pick either. Goes to
Oklahoma City. Where else
Just
would
like
it?
the Jazz.
Where else
Yeah.
would it go? Right?
Yeah.
So the Clippers and Pelicans shouldn't, but maybe they're just that bad.
They might just be that bad.
You got 6 teams trying.
Yeah.
2 teams that are awful, even though they don't have the incentive.
And then there are teams
Bulls, Blazers.
Bulls, Blazers, and Grizzlies, who just lost John Morant last night and are already missing Zach Edey, could also pull the plug. They could trade John Morant. They could try and retool. So there are.
So we've got 6 for sure, 2 that might not be able to help themselves, even though they don't get the reward, and another 3 we'll have to wait and see, but I expect that probably at least 2 of the 3 will.
And right now, among those teams, the Jazz have the best record outside of the Memphis Grizzlies, and because they have a better record than the Portland Trailblazers.
Here's a crazy one for you. What about the Bucks?
If they trade Giannis, but I don't think they own their pick either. They traded all their picks to get Drew Holiday to build around Giannis. So they don't really have that motivation right now. But that's
a pick that didn't go to Oklahoma City. Phillies went to Oklahoma City, right?
Yeah, I don't think it went to Oklahoma City. I think it may have gone to New Orleans, and then New Orleans may have sent it to Atlanta for DeJounte Murray.
Okay.
So what's interesting there is you could potentially, if you trade Giannis to Atlanta, you could get your pick back. And Atlanta actually is one of the destinations that really does make sense for Giannis. But to the bigger point, and locally pertinent, is that the Jazz are not positioned right now to get the draft pick. And if they want to get the draft pick, you probably can't win more than 25 games. And that means 15 wins over the next 4.5 months. I mean, that's 3 wins a month. That's nothing. I mean, that's going to really, you're going to really have to pull the plug on the season if that's where you're hoping to get. And look, you can win one of your final 20 games, and that certainly makes it easier by really, really tanking, by resting Lauri Markkanen for the rest of the season, whatever you have to do. Maybe you have to rest Keontae George as well. And if the pick is that important to you, which it probably should be, those are the steps you have to take. I hate talking about it. I don't particularly enjoy watching that style of basketball either, nor do most Jazz fans, which is why last season was so painful. I don't think anyone in the Jazz front office likes doing it. But as we saw last night, if you get a truly transformational player early in their career, and I'm not selling out Ace Bailey's stock. I still think Ace can get there. He's just probably closer to that Keontae George. It might take 3 years before you know. And the problem is if it takes 3 years before you know and he doesn't reach where Keontae George is, then you've missed. But if you can get one of these young 3 players in this year's draft, Darren Peterson, A.J. Dubonsa, Cam Boozer, and they are probably not as good as Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is the youngest player ever to score 40 in an NBA game. If they're even close to that level, and then you pair him with Lowry now, and you pair him with whatever this version is of Keontae George, and Ace Bailey turns into anything, suddenly you actually do have a roster that could compete for something serious.
You never know how players are going to grow and evolve over 5, 7, 10 years, which is what we're talking about. Because Cooper Flagg's 18, so we're talking about 23, 25, 28 years old. We don't know how that's going to work out. The thing Cooper Flagg did and why he's a cut above these guys until they prove otherwise, the fact that he got picked to go, before you even played in college, to go with that U.S. select team and go against the All-Stars who are the U.S. Olympic team. So you're in like dream team territory here, and you're so good that the guys who are going to be Olympians are like, oh, that dude's really good. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, maybe Devonta will end up, or Boozer or whoever, Peterson will end up being better. Maybe they'll go to more All-Star games and win more championships. Maybe.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't think there's higher praise. You go into that setting. You're on the select team going against the core of the U.S. Olympic team, and they come out going, that guy's the real deal. They got every reason not to say that. When Shaq was coming up, they froze him out of an All-Star game.
Yeah.
Jordan, I mean, like the best of the best. Number of people Kobe ticked off when he was young.
Yeah.
Yeah. These guys are sitting on 4, 5, 6 championships.
Cooper's the best American prospect since LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, and has actually lived up to it on the floor. And, Zion had his moments, and there have been good players. But what we've actually seen in his NBA career, Cooper's the best we've seen in over 20 years. It's amazing. He's going to be as good as advertised. Again, to go back to the point of, he is justifying why teams tank. The ironic thing is that the Mavericks got him without tanking. The teams that tanked for him didn't get him. And now a lot of those teams are tanking for a second season in hopes of repeating the process to get the guy, having just been bitten by the snake that they carried.
Well, there you go. Awesome. And now the NBA's got to sell a league where somewhere between a quarter and a third of the teams aren't even trying to win.
And look, here's the weird part for the Jazz. Suddenly, this question has been, we know Lauri Markkanen's not number one on a good team. Or a great team, we should say. Good team, maybe. Number one on a great team, he's not. He's never won at a high level. He's never made the playoffs before. Jazz have given him the ball a lot. He can score 25 points a game. It doesn't necessarily translate to winning. Keontae George suddenly is putting himself in the conversation where if by the end of the season he's better than Lowry, you've achieved your goal, was to find somebody better than Lowry to put on your team. But is he...
And even if he isn't better than Lowry, just to have someone who's in the neighborhood makes it so much harder to defend, and it's why the tank is so attractive. Imagine if you got someone who was a legit top 10 talent. Asking a guy Keontae's size to be that kind of player, that is a big ask.
It is.
It doesn't happen very often in the NBA. Track Donovan Mitchell's career, what he's going through, what he's about to go through. It is really hard when you are under 6'6".
Yes.
Now, that doesn't mean you can't do it. I know Steph Curry's out there. It can be done. But under 6'6" in the NBA, super hard to be an elite player.
Absolutely. But now that you've got those two guys, if you could still add that third, now all of a sudden you're really cooking with something. You really have a design of a roster that can win. I don't want to say at the highest levels because Oklahoma City and Victor Wembanyama exist on the planet, but you're far closer than maybe you even were with Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell because they never truly had the third guy.
There's Ben Anderson. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
Left elbow, off the dribble jumper. Brunson connects. He's got 21. And the Knicks have a 5-point lead. Brunson thought he got fouled across midcourt. Looks at the ref. Now he drives on the lane on Fox and nails a floater from 8 feet. I think he's got 25.
We got down 10 or whatever it was. We found a way to win. And that's it. Now we're going to find a way. And that's going to be our motto going forward. We're going to find a way.
I think earlier in the year, when teams went on runs, we were trying to figure it out, and we weren't able to punch back at certain times. And I think, the last couple of games, we've really been turning that when we have adverse situations, we're able to put our head down and get stops and get buckets and do those kind of things. So us being able to have those, early season moments of adversity and getting through it, gives us confidence down the road.
The Knicks beat the Spurs to win the NBA Cup. There's Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart on the victory. They get the bonus, a little over $500,000 each. Former Jazz man Jordan Clarkson, 2 big three-pointers to take the lead in the fourth quarter. He had 15. There you go.
I didn't watch 1 second of it.
Me neither.
I was watching BYU.
And that was a blowout we'll get to in just a moment. That was the only game in the NBA last night.
Of course. I mean, you're not going to have another game when a team is in the 7th game of the finals.
It was not the 7th game of the finals.
They ran out on the floor.
It was a single elimination final.
The knockout round.
It was. It was a knockout round, yes. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
BYU 93-57 over the Pacific Tigers, a 36-point win. Not one of those 47-point monstrosities we were starting to get used to. Richie Saunders led the way with 24 points. A.J. DeBonsa, 23 points, 10 rebounds. Rob Wright III, 22 points. And the quote of the night comes from Pacific's athletic director, Adam Tusher. In a now-deleted tweet, tough one for Pacific men's basketball tonight. Good scheduling lesson for the future in this funny money age we're in. No point in playing this game at all. You're not even playing a basketball team, just walking bags of cash.
What's his name?
I think it's Tusher, T-S-C-H-U-O-R.
Not too sure about scheduling that game. That's what that's about.
Hey, if he's frustrated, I get it, but this is totally predictable when you schedule the game.
What? They're the paper Tigers, ain't the Pacific Tigers. Fix them.
Get back to the Spanos.
You come into our house and make fun of our guys.
Exactly. Go back to the Spanos.
You don't
Center.
go to the MC.
Play Portland.
Look, I was thinking about this watching this game, man. A few years back, you have to worry about BYU beating these guys. And now they're just slaughtering them. My, how times have changed.
Not surprising, though. Didn't you think it was going to be a 30 or 40-point game?
The second they hired KY.
There you go. Next up, Abilene Christian. Another 30 or 40-point blowout.
Which just got slaughtered by Arizona.
DJ and PK.
And Maybelline Christian.
Hashtag NFL.
Are you considering a quarterback change this week?
Well, I think the quarterback play last night was not good enough. And so for me, everything's on the table.
And who would you consider going to if you make a change?
Well, I think that we're in the process of game planning for the Cincinnati Bengals. So in that process, we're trying to determine who will give us the best chance to win, and I'll probably give you more clarity on that tomorrow, as we are, I think, 14 hours removed from the game.
That is Mike McDaniel getting direct questions about the quarterback play. Tua Tagovailoa's numbers were padded by a couple of fourth-quarter drives. He was 6 of 10 for 65 yards and an interception in the first three quarters as Pittsburgh beat Miami Monday night. Of course, Zach Wilson, a backup. He'd be a potential, the former Cougar, and seventh-round draft pick Quinn Ewers, also another potential quarterback they could run out there, see what they have. They're not going anywhere else, so might as well see what you have at the end of the year.
I think it's an opportunity to get Zach Wilson back out there. Hasn't played in 2 years.
Jets let wide receiver Alan Lazard go. He was the last holdover from the Aaron Rodgers era, the 2 years he was there. He'd been a healthy scratch 4 games in a row, asked for his release in hopes of landing with a contender. The Jets, who are 3-11, obliged him, cut him loose. Utah offensive tackle Caleb Lomu has only been in school 3 years. He's got more eligibility, but to the surprise of, well, pretty much no one, he's declaring for the NFL draft. He was first-team All-Big 12 in his second season as a starter, and alongside Spencer Fano, expected to be a first-round draft pick.
Well, I think Fano has the opportunity to go top 10, and Lomu maybe anywhere from 15 to
32?
25. I don't know that it'll be on the board then, just looking at various shows. You never know, obviously. But from where I've been looking at and what he believes, and if he went 27, 28, so what? But clearly he's going to go high, and he needs to take the money. It's too risky for guys like him to continue playing, and everyone understands that. I mean, Ute fans know full well that that's the situation, and I think they just say, okay, go get him, kid, and go make your money. I mean, that's the whole point of this thing, and he's proven enough already in 2 years. That's essentially all he played. So the time is now, and I mean, you never know, but the opportunity for serious injury could be, if you had an injury, it could literally take millions away from you, and you cannot do that.
Seems like a no-brainer. I mean, in the Kansas State game, we all saw Fano go down. Now he got up and was able to come back and play, so that was great. But, man, when that happened, kind of took your breath away. It just shows you how random it is. You know, you're blocking somebody.
Nelson.
Somebody rolls across your legs.
On the other side.
Yeah. DJ and PK.
#college football.
Well, the news broke during our show late yesterday. The former Corner Canyon football coach, Eric Kjar, is Weber State's new football coach. He has turned the Chargers into a powerhouse, 6 state titles, runners-up a couple other times since 2018. Sent a bunch of quarterbacks on to college ball, in some cases the NFL, Zach Wilson, Jackson Dart, Isaac Wilson, among QBs who've gone through there. Weber State AD, Jim Crompton saying Coach Kjar is absolutely the right leader at the right time.
Yeah, it's a sad day for me.
Are you going to burn all your Corner Canyon gear? That'd be quite a bonfire.
Now, I bleed the colors of
silver
and black, gray and black, whatever they are. I know what they are.
Okay.
He's had this opportunity. He's had other opportunities to go, and he's taken this one. And I know everybody associated with him are just so excited to see what he can do. I can't say enough for the guy. I've been following him.
Before Corner Canyon.
Yeah, almost 20 years now. I've seen him run an offense in person probably close to 50 times. Talked to him many times. He was my basketball buddy during the winter. We'd go to the games and sit there and chat. I'm so excited to see what he can do because at his level, he was as good as anybody I'd been around. And so now has an opportunity to do it at a higher level, and who knows what can happen from there. He's tight with Jay Hill, and we saw what Jay Hill did. So, yeah, this is a great opportunity for Eric Kjar to really just show that it wasn't about kids moving in. And I know he would get a little uptight about that. There's a quote he would use that I won't use here, but. We'll see, man. And obviously I'm going to follow Weber a lot closer.
Are we all? I mean, we're all intrigued by this. He was too big a figure in high school football. If you followed high school football at any level, you're going to be curious to see what he does at Weber State. It seems like a great match. It seems like a great idea. You never know how it's going to play out, but it's completely worth taking a chance on this.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll be interesting to see how much we see players, and we'll talk with him coming up in the next segment. We can ask him how much we're going to see players in the transfer portal bouncing between our local schools, BYU, Utah State, and Weber State, and how much that transfer portal gets used as far as what his attitude is. Like, hey, if you go there, you may not be able to play. You come here, you'll be able to play. And if you're good, boom, you'll be right there. Like you say, there are ties there. I'm sure tight with Jay Hill, but I'm sure he's got relationships with a lot of the local coaches because they've all been on campus recruiting.
Oh, yeah. My wife taught with him, and he would go and, hey, I want you to meet this lady. Mm-hmm. It was just coaches all over the country. And you name it, they were
coming
there.
Through, right? Yeah.
She would tell me.
Because they come through wearing their gear. It's no surprise.
Yeah. And they would get introduced.
It'll be interesting to see the talent. You know, will he take kids who can't quite crack the lineup at these other schools? I think we'll see players moving back and forth, but we'll talk with him about that.
What do you mean
by
Jay Hill had kids who could crack the lineup?
Yes. I think there'll be more of the recruiting kids saying, hey, look what Kelly did. Come here, you'll play. If you're that good, they'll find you. I'll help them find you. You'll have no problem. You'll make that transition too. But there could be kids leaving BYU, Utah, or Utah State looking for a place to play.
I'm sure there will be.
Yeah. Isaac Wilson is in the transfer portal, played his high school ball for him. I don't think it'll be any surprise if he ends up at Weber State. We'll talk with Eric Kjar coming up. He's going to join us in about 15 minutes. DJ and PK.
#NHL.
Down to the 20-year-old boot. Dursey straight away. Dials one up. Hayden scores! Baron Hayden walks one in off the setup from Sean Dursey. And the Mammoth are out to a 1-0 start. The second unit scores again. A power play goal. Geeky from the corner. Zaka in the bumper spot. It's Pasternak this way. Back door, and they score. Geeky's got another one. 1-1. 4 minutes left in the first. And Morgan Geeky has himself goal number 23 on the year. Casey Middlestat, a cross shot, missed the cage, follow up, and they score. It's Middlestat, and it's 3-1.
I want more ownership. I don't know if it's accountability or ownership. We knew we're in their building. We dominate the first period the way we did. We knew they will push back. So there's one thing to say it in the room. There's one thing to knowing it. It's another thing to buckle up and to push back and be ready for their answer and just double down on their answer instead to kind of be the victim of their push.
Utah Mammoth lose in Boston 4-1 the final. The Mammoth get the power play goal to open the scoring there early in the first period, and then it's pretty much all Boston after that. Mammoth go back-to-back. They're in Detroit tonight. Split 2 games on this road trip. Pre-game show starts at 4:30. The puck drops at 5:30 here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. That is what is trending. It's brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. All right, Eric Kjar, new Weber State football coach, is going to join us coming up at 7:30. Tim LaComb is here talking hoops at 8:30 with the Jazz having won 4 of their last 6 games. Also, it's a Win Tickets Wednesday. We're giving away tickets to see Youngblood, Idols, the World Tour at the UCCU Center in Orem. The concert's in May. We're giving away the tickets in the 8 o'clock hour. Stay with us. DJ and PK question of the day is next.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. So many questions, so many things happening. But PK, it has caught your eye.
What?
You posted how ridiculous is it for college players to put on social media that they're re-signing with the team they're already playing for.
I don't like it.
Neither does anybody else.
I just don't like it, man. There's got to be some semblance of the way it used to be. You can't just throw everything at us all at once. Here's the new way.
Give us time to adjust.
Yeah.
David, welcome to NIL. There are no more career amateur football players.
That's for sure. That's
Landon,
true.
college football's become ridiculous lately. It's so out of control. Tommy, paying players has ruined college sports.
I disagree on that. I'm not going to go that far because so many of them have been getting paid. You know, as Orgeron said, we don't go in the back door now. We go in the front door.
What a great quote.
And I've got plenty of examples through many, many years of people telling me stuff and being aware of stuff to know that stuff was going on. And reputable people were doing it, or they weren't doing it, but they basically knew it was being done, even though they didn't know the literal amount, and life went on. And, you know, you can go back to John Wooden and that booster that he had and all that stuff. And so it hasn't ruined it. It's just turned it into anarchy. And the idea of saying, I'm going to re-sign, it's like every NFL guy would say, okay, yep, I got this contract, I'm coming back. If they were all on one-year deals, I guess it would be different. But just don't say that. Just say, if you're leaving, you're leaving. If you're staying, don't tell us you're staying. Just tell us you're leaving. You can't make it a total mockery, and I think that's what's happened.
But are there some high-profile athletes that you want to know if they're leaving or staying? I mean, the Utes have 2 quarterbacks. They both have more eligibility. You could see where one would leave because the other one's going to start.
Yeah, but they don't have to say, I'm re-signing.
No, they did not.
And
I
you
believe
say, hey, I'm back.
I think Bert Ficklin put out something with the lock little emoji thing. Locked in. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to be back.
Sure, and if Arch Manning wanted to come here in January, what did that mean?
Then someone would be taking off.
Right.
All right, I'll be second string, but I'm not being third.
Yeah. So that doesn't really mean anything. On Saturday, Dillingham, the other Ham, was basically crying about, I love this place. He gave a press conference, and he stopped because he couldn't speak for over 30 seconds. And now yesterday, he basically said, if they don't give me what I want, I'm going to Michigan. And that was 3 days later. And everybody thought, oh, he's staying. No, he's not necessarily. And I have it on good authority. It's going to be Kalani's deal. If they don't put up, he's likely gone. Yeah. And then they go searching for a coach. And there might be somebody who's won a lot of games who might be available.
Hey-o.
I assume you discussed all that while I was
We have discussed many things about that, but if you'd like to add in something about Kyle, now would be the time.
I got nothing to add.
Oh, I thought you might. Okay. All right.
I'm sure you already spoke about it. I missed out. That's my problem, not yours.
He uses words precisely, and he did not use the word retire. He used the word stepping down. He clearly left the door open. Yes, he did. 2 words. He clearly left the door open.
2 words. Stepping down.
2 words. Stepping down. Left the door open. If there's something out there that intrigues him, then there you go.
Yeah, we've communicated, and we'll see what happens there. So, I mean, he's a guy he's always said never say never. So he's always said that. I can remember many times him saying that. So I don't know what he's going to do. I'm not sure he knows what he's going to do. See what's out there. Understood. Yeah. And you can draw your own conclusions on that. And he'll talk tomorrow, right? They having media availability tomorrow in preparation for the Vegas Bowl?
I hope so, but I have not seen anything.
I believe it's out there.
All right.
I believe I saw something.
Good.
You yak. I'll look at it. Go ahead, yak. Yak!
Yak is so close to Yak. We're missing Yak today. Chicho's in, though. Nowhere without
I was
Christian.
thinking that
Chicho! He's on the phone now. He's getting.
We've got Hands.
Uh-huh.
With him, we've got Christian.
Uh-huh.
And with Ben, we got Anderson.
Did you have a delay at the airport? Time to ponder these things?
Things that go through your mind?
Just things. Hans Christian Anderson. Nice.
Yeah, Utah availability. Post-practice. 2:15, Thursday, December 18th.
All right, there it is. All right, DJ, PK, and it's time to welcome in Weber State's new football coach, Eric Kjar. Eric, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're doing well. We're excited to hear the news that you are leaving Corner Canyon and going to Weber State. And I'm curious, how many times did you come close to leaving, and why did you decide to do it this time?
That's a good question, man. So I've never really been this close like as I was this year. I've explored it a little bit, but not to this extent to where I was really serious about doing it and wanted to do it. So this was kind of the first time really where it became more of a reality for me and what I wanted to do from a career standpoint.
Yeah, it's funny, Eric. I mean, I've had many times people ask me, you think he'll leave? You think he'll leave? I said, well, he's getting closer. And this opportunity comes up. I know you still have a son in high school. I think the other 3, the 2 kids and 2 boys and daughter are gone. and moved on. But at the same time, knowing that, well, it might not be available, so you got to take it when it is, and here it is. And so with that in mind, as you reviewed all this, essentially, why did you take it?
That exactly right there. This was the time for me, especially with the opening, and where I think the main reason why I was so interested in this job is just how good they are up here, or what I feel like they can be. They've been there before. I think we can get there for sure again. There's good resources up here. There's a lot of people that care about Weber State football. The admin cares about it, and it's important to them. And just being so close to Utah, just the talent in Utah, and really how much it's unrecruited, I think is really a valuable place where I feel like we can get in here and hit Utah hard and bring a lot of good kids and a lot of fun into the program and create some excitement in Utah about Weber State football, where we can, increase attendance and do all those kind of fun things here, where we can make it a special place.
You mentioned that Weber State has been good over the years, and obviously when Jay Hill was there, they won or tied for the Big Sky title 4 years in a row and went to the NCAA tournament 5 times in a row, and I think it was 6 or 7 years. So that is a lot of success. And describe your relationship with Jay Hill. How much football do you talk with him? How much can you pick his brain about what he did then and what could be done now?
What he did here was an incredible run, really probably unmatched a little bit in the Big Sky as far as just the consistency, especially from a Weber State standpoint, but even across the conference, really. You look at even the big, the 2 Montana schools that have done so well and have had runs in Eastern Washington and some of those places. Like, what he did here was, the consistency was crazy. And then that's the great part about Coach Hill. Like, I have so much respect for him, but he's open, like, with that. So, I can contact him anytime. We can talk. We can work on things logistically. Also, what the program needs, what he did, what he liked, and then the best part about him too is he's always like, hey, but, with that being said, like, make it yours, which I think is always an important part. And I said the same thing to coaches when they go, like, from maybe where I had them at corner and they left and they go do their own thing. I think that's always a critical piece. You have to remember that you are who you are, and you want to embrace that a little bit, and it's helped you get to where you're at. So
as I look at the Big Sky, and, I actually out of high school, I spent 2 years at NAU, so I've been following this thing for a long time.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, before I went, and then I transferred down to ASU and graduated from there. So, but I've always been a Big Sky guy at heart. At that time, I always thought it's like the purest form, playing for the love of the game and all that stuff. And you look at Weber State compared to some of these other schools, like let's take NAU for an example. The population in Arizona is much bigger than we got here in Utah, and they only have 2 other schools essentially that are playing. So the competition compared to the number of players available isn't as tough. And then you got Montana State, they're the biggest shows in their states, obviously. Eastern Washington, you can argue there's not that much more competition. But then you go Weber State, and wow, we've got 3 just in northern Utah alone, and then we got 2 others down south. So the competition to get guys, in-state guys, is really, really tough. How are you going to be able to crack that? Because you have a rep. I think kids will want to come, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be easy.
Yeah, I think so. So I think here where there's going to be high-level kids that are going to go to BYU, Utah, or even out of state, right? Like, we had them at Corner Canyon. We had a couple high-level kids that are going out of state, like A&M, USC, Cal. Those kids aren't the ones I'm targeting here. It's the kids that I think are getting overlooked. So I think there is that initial line where those kids are going to those places. And then I think there's a ton of kids that are under-recruited below those levels that do fit well at Weber State and these other FCS and G5 FBS programs. Like, I think there's a big group here. Utah football's good. And I think there's a ton of kids, I see it every year, that are under-recruited. There's kids I'm already looking at here that, since I've been here, that I know are under-recruited that we're going to go after hard, that I know can play here and help us build something special here. So I think that's really going to be where we'll we'll get into it. We're not going to compete with those other ones, but we're going to get the other kids that I know are damn good football players that'll do a great job here and in our program. That's really the fit. You have to find the right kid, the right character of kid, the kid that loves football, that cares about it and just wants to play ball for what it is. Like you talked about with being in the Big Sky, like that's what's fun about being here, is having those kids that just love what we do and love football and find that niche. It's going to be, important part, and then just recruit them hard. We got to recruit them hard. We got to pay attention to them. We got to evaluate them well and communicate well with them and know that they're wanted here, and we want to build something special with them and then win games so we can start getting those guys in here all the time and not lose out to other places.
Weaver State football coach Eric Kjar joining us here on The Zone. How comfortable are you with the transfer portal, people coming and going? I've heard the expression the Big Sky can be like AAA. You have to expect to lose your best players to the Mountain West or the Big 12 or wherever. But there's also guys in the transfer portal who can help Big Sky schools. How comfortable are you with all of that?
Yeah, good. It's something I'm learning for sure. It's not like I have it down. I don't know that anybody has it down yet, but I think some coaches have really mastered it already in different areas. If you can master it, if there's such a thing, I think it's still a risk. No matter what went as far as like getting into it, as far as like getting kids out of it, controlling the fact of kids getting in, that's really on us as far as building something special here to wanting them to stay. But then you're going to have kids that are going to, come here and kill it, which we want, be, big time players that are first team Big Sky players that are going to get out. Like, and they should, like if that's something that's going to help them and progress them as a person and make them, a better player, but also get compensated on a financial level that we can't do here. I think that's something that I have to embrace at Weber State and understand that's going to be a thing, and maybe even pitch that to kids in some ways that maybe have that potential and be understanding and support them when they do have that happen and be happy for them. I don't think that's something, if you try to fight that, I don't think you're going to win that battle. It's what it is at this point with college and with college football. Like at our level, FCS level, in my opinion, there's coaches that have embraced that and done that really well, and I think that's what we'll have to do here.
What are you going to do about your staff?
Man, that's a great question. I'm working on it right now.
I'm here if you need me, big guy.
I know. You would be the good guy. I was thinking you probably more like offensive line coach. You seem like that guy.
You've probably heard the show driving to work at Corner Canyon. He's never put his fingers in the rubberized pellets. I don't know if O-line would be right.
I just sit up in the stands and criticize you. That's my job.
That is. Hey, that's a fun job, though. That's always.
It is actually.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Stand on the outside and just taking shots is always nice.
I'm just wondering, have you been besieged by people wanting to be a part of this already?
Yes.
I thought you would.
Yeah, about 800 unread texts on my phone at one point yesterday, and a lot of them were job seekers, which I love. That's how it goes, the hustle of the college football realm and guys hustling and wanting to be a part of things and getting opportunities. I think it's an amazing part of this profession, and you love it, and you love hungry professionals that want to do that kind of stuff, so it's awesome.
Well, when you get to mine among those 800, I wasn't pitching for a job. I just congratulated you and then threw in a little funny line.
I like it. Was it about how Jackie always beats you in pickleball and golf? Was it that?
Hey, don't give up family secrets.
She's an athlete in that group right there for sure.
Her life now is just recess.
I love it for her. I'm so happy for her. It's awesome.
She plays 18 holes of golf. She plays pickleball. She plays 9 more holes of golf. She goes home. She has dinner. That's how that works. Yeah,
she picks up dinner on the way home.
She picks up dinner. You're right. She picks up dinner on the way home. That's incorrect. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, Ben, you better be careful, PK. She's going to hear that.
I know. What the heck?
That's fine, right? I'm curious, so when you put this staff together, are you looking for veteran coaches who know college football? Because you know football, but you know at the high school level, and it's different. Are you looking for young coaches on the way up? I mean, the BYU staff, basically, they're in the Big 12 title game. Everybody was in the Big Sky. Kalani was at Southern Utah. A-Rod was at Southern Utah. Jay Hill was obviously at Weber State. Fesi Sataki was at Weber State. I mean, go on and on. So young coaches on the way up, ex-players who might have a little sizzle to their name, as we've seen like Luther Ellis going to the U? What are you looking for?
So you hit it on the head with that first part, is just getting guys with some college experience that are really good, passionate about what they're doing. But college experience will be critical for me, especially, just first and foremost, just kind of helping and supporting me. And I'm learning a lot of that aspect already. Obviously, the football part, I think, will be the more easier part, but there's so much more to it than that now for me. So that's going to be a big piece, is having guys that can help support and be really good that way. So that's really going to be the critical piece. And we got to add some young guys too, with a lot of energy that are excited about, getting that opportunity and can build and grow. And, then we'll probably lose them at some point, because hopefully, we do well and we take care of business, and then those guys get other opportunities. But that's going to be a little bit of the model here, where we're at the FCS level and you get some of those good guys when they're young, but then, they end up being Kalani Sitake and Jay Hill and so forth like that, and Fessy. So that's going to happen. And that's, if you're doing it the right way and you're winning, you'll expect that. But you got to get some of those young guys on their way up, just because then you can't pay quite on the level, obviously, here that you can at other levels. So
I was thinking about this, as far as this is a groundbreaking thing here with essentially a high school coach, and you're basically being a standard bearer if they want to do this again. It's like you can go, can a junior college coach make it? Can a 1AA coach, can he step up? You can go all the way back to when it was crazy and people thought, oh my gosh, can a black guy actually coach? That seems so out of date now, as it should be, obviously. But do you feel any level of responsibility in terms of, this doesn't happen very often, to go from where you were to be the head coach of a program? And so there's going to be a lot of eyes on you to see if this works. And if it does work, which I think it will, in fact, I have no doubt, because I believe in you 100%, that others can get this opportunity. I mean, that might be too big of a thing to be thinking about right now, but I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, so I've actually thought about that a little bit, mostly in the sense of what I owe this athletic department here and the administration here. That part is really not lost on me. I think the importance of doing well, working my butt off, putting out a good product, grinding on this job, and putting us at a level where we're going to be really good and successful, because I feel like those guys took a chance on me and gave me a unique opportunity, and I owe them for that. And our athletic director, Tim Crompton's a big part of that. So, and then just like you talked about for high school coaches moving forward, just owning that part for them and trying to put out a great product, and give other guys maybe an opportunity that are really qualified that could do the same thing. But really more so from a Weber State administration standpoint, and Tim Crompton, really that's really where I want to, do a great job and put this thing back on the map and get things rolling. And because of what they did for me and the faith they showed in me, that's a big part of it.
Really good coaches usually have a coaching tree, and I think you can be traced back to Mike Leach, and you threw the ball really well with your Corner Canyon teams with multiple quarterbacks. How much of that do you think will translate to the Big Sky? On the surface, it looks like it ought to transfer pretty seamlessly, but maybe there's hurdles in the way of this I don't know about.
Yeah, probably the biggest piece with that is just to continue to be really good at the quarterback position, too. I think that's any, modern-day college football. I think that piece, you have to be really good there. So that's going to be always something we'll try to do really well. And that starts a lot with just being physical up front and being able to run the ball. All our teams that have been the most efficient offensively, we've had good run games with that. And that'll really be our focus. And then, the quarterback aspect's always there where we're throwing the ball. But that really, if you look at what we've done, especially at Corner Canyon, a lot of that came off our run game. And that's why, like, our yards per attempt were always so high and our efficiency was so good from a yardage standpoint. If you look at what we've done in the 9 years there, our attempts are really kind of lower comparatively to the other quarterbacks in the state, pass attempts-wise, but they're high on efficiency and high on YPA, which is yards per attempt. Just it's so critical to be efficient in that category. if you're going to be a good passing team, and that's running the ball. So if you're running the ball well and you can play action and do some things out of that and have some answers for pressure, then you got a chance to be really good in the pass game.
I don't know how many people know your story and, coming out of Wyoming and then coming here to Utah.
What comes out of Wyoming, huh? Okay.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
And how you got you got hooked up at Jordan, which is when I first kind of came in contact with Alex Jacobson, who was a childhood buddy of Mike Leach. Now, both, unfortunately, of those guys died way too early. But could you explain how you had an opportunity to learn from Mike, because Mike had family here and contacts here and would come back in the summer, and what you were able to develop based on what you learned from him?
Yeah, so really that was a lot of that was facilitated by Coach Jacobson, because they grew up in Cody, Wyoming together and good friends, and we went down to Lubbock a couple times and were able to meet with his staff and learn some things there. And it was a big piece. Like, I think in this profession, I think you're always doing that. And Leach was a big part of that, and really Coach Jacobson giving me that opportunity, and also an opportunity to coach and learn and grow, and let me coordinate an offense early that turned into being a head coach. But you learn so many things from so many different people, and he was definitely one of them. And then you utilize those things, and that's what good coaches do. They're always trying to learn and progress and get better, and try not to stay the same. And there's different ways to do that, but a lot of it is borrowing from others around you. So that was a big piece of what I've done and learned from.
How much control do you have over the schedule? Because Mickey Mantle was let go there, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we could dive into. But man, the first thing I dove into was the schedule. You got to play a couple money games, and then the league has you playing the top half of the league and missing 3 of the 4 teams at the bottom. It was stacked against Weber State last year. How much say do you have on that going forward?
I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't even gotten into those talks yet, if I'm being honest. That was tough. I think, one of the things for him last year, they played JMU, who's obviously in the playoff this year, and then Arizona was a top 25 team. And then you're just in the Big Sky, too, which is one of the top conferences in the country, too. So it's tough. And then they had some big injuries. They lost a quarterback. They had another quarterback that was out that, probably not a lot of them knew about. They ended up going with a freshman who played really, really well, who looked really good. So there was just a lot of stuff, and that's football. Like, sometimes you just have to manage that as much as you can. You can't make excuses. You got to get your guys prepared and ready to go, and the schedule be what it may. Those games, I think 2 of them are a little bit much, but sometimes, I think you have to kind of embrace a little bit of that too as an FCS school, just from a budget standpoint and financially.
Did Dina try to match the offer?
No, she was awesome though. She was great when I went in and talked to her about it. That's so funny. Yeah, I like it. But no, that's so funny. It'd be funny, huh? Having a public school in Utah trying to match that.
Dina being the principal. You spent all this time getting that field house, and now it's getting ready, and you won't be there.
So I moved when I moved to Jordan. I worked. And so did Mr. Sherwood. Tom Sherwood worked his butt off. We got that weight room extended. It was awesome. I left right after. And then here we get that field house done. We did one walkthrough as we got ready for St. Francis, and then now I'm out of there too. And the weight room's beautiful in there too. A bunch of racks, brand new equipment, like get stuff set up. So it's and then I bailed. So that's kind of my model, I guess. I try to do that kind of stuff and then get out of there. So
there you go.
It'll be a great place for another coach that hopefully comes in there that has some ties to maybe me and what we've done there, that I would love to see that continue on there and support that for sure. I got a son still in that program that I want to see them do well, and I care a lot about all those kids that are in that program. So.
Well, Eric, we appreciate the time. Congratulations on the new gig, and we are excited to watch this progress. We will probably be bothering you again.
Go Wildcats, man.
I like it. I like it. You guys can bug me anytime. You guys are fun.
All right. Thanks, Eric. We appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good one.
There's Eric Kjar. He was at Corner Canyon, piling up state championships and title game appearances, and now he's making the move to Weber State. And a guy that we have on our show all the time, Riley Jensen, 100%. I think he just concentrated as a mental performance coach. I think he just wished this into existence.
You know, I'd heard about it and was hoping that it would progress along the way to where it got to where they're ready to make an announcement. And, you know, I'd heard on Monday that it was looking really good. And sure enough, it got done and they announced it on Tuesday. And this is just awesome, man.
Yeah.
He's one of my guys, obviously.
Yeah. Riley just thought it was the perfect fit. He says Weber State. And to your point that you asked him about, hey, a high school gets a chance. You know, Riley's did the coaching thing a little bit as a graduate assistant at NC State. He's been around athletic departments, and he knows a high school coach jumping straight to a head coaching job is a long shot. But he just completely believed Weber State should do it, but knew that it was a big ask. But the AD looked into it and decided to make the offer, and here we are. But Riley's, we'll get him on to talk about it.
There might be some high school coaches that are jealous of him because he won so much. But I think by generally speaking and by and large, most of the high school coaches, if not all of them, are going to be pulling hard for him.
Yeah. And he'll be working with those guys. Yeah, and he'll be working with those guys because, as you just heard, he believes there's a lot of college football players in Utah getting overlooked.
Oh, he told me about the kid at, what was it, the Emerson kid who went down to BYU. He told me last winter, this kid's really, really good. I mean, or maybe it was 2 winters ago, and he's being under-recruited. And I didn't know anything about him because I don't follow high school widespread.
Right.
But I followed that program, obviously, because of the relationship. And he was telling me about him, and then sure enough, I watch him a little bit, and then BYU's offers him. The guy, Eric, has an eye for talent. That is without question.
Well, Jay Hill at the end, I can remember doing an interview with him, and at the end of his time at Weber State, and he said, we're getting Mountain West kids. We're going to be good. And then they'd go out and put another awesome season. He's like, I know this kid can play in the Mountain West.
Sure.
And he was running through kids. Now, ultimately, we've seen some of those kids could play in the Big 12.
And he's got great relationships with those Jay Hill types that could help him. Hey, I think this is a kid you need to look at type of thing. It's the opportunity there is for him to be successful.
So, devil's advocate, what are we missing? Because I'm pumped up about this, you're pumped up about this, Riley's pumped up about this. Are we missing something, or it's really that good?
We'll
do it on the other side of the break. We'll get to that next. Stay with us, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Artist of the day, Youngblood. We're giving away Youngblood tickets, the Idols World Tour. We'll do that coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. It's all brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts and events in 2025, check out livenation.com. All right, DJ PK, we just had Eric Kjar on. He had a long and very successful run at Corner Canyon as a football coach there. Now Weber State has hired him to be the football coach in Ogden. Everybody seems to be on board. So many people are excited, worked up about this. PK, you love to go the other way when the tide's all going one way. What might we be missing? What are the hurdles? I mean, this really could be a smash hit, which is what people expect / hope. I see a couple potential bumps in the road here.
Yeah, I got some ideas because I was talking to somebody about this yesterday.
The number one thing, and I've heard this when they've hired other coaches, and Ron McBride, Jay Hill, local guys went there, and there was a lot of excitement and enthusiasm when those guys were hired. Putting together a staff is tricky. They don't have a lot of money. You spend it on the head coach, maybe the coordinators, and then the position coaches. We talk about having an eye for talent for players, but having an eye for talent for coaches, because I just don't think the position coaches are going to make that much money.
No, they're not. It's going to be all about on the way up. I mean, you named several. Jason Beck was there under Ronnie Mack.
Yeah.
And so you got to understand you're getting guys in their 20s that this is the first step. Everybody has to take the first step. Everyone has to take an entry-level job unless you're got a famous name or something and you could skip steps. The rest of us had to take – I had to go to Casa Grande, Arizona and make $210 a week, right? And now look at me. I'm a wash and cash. I bathe in money. And so you got all that stuff here going on. So get guys who are going to work.
Yeah.
And Eric knows enough people. He knows who are going to work. So I think they can be fine there. The other thing in the conversation I was having yesterday, because I've had it in the past, is now he is going up against guys who this is all they do.
Mm-hmm.
He had to teach, and he had to coach track, right? So you're going up to guys, up against guys who've been doing this 24/7. This is all they do.
For years.
Yeah. They don't have to teach.
Mm-hmm.
They may if they want to or what have you and do other stuff, but essentially they are professional football coaches. Eric is a phenomenal coach, but he also had to do other things. And so that doesn't mean he can't do it, but you're looking for possible pitfalls. I don't know if pitfall is the thing.
Potholes.
Just
Bumps
things
in the
that,
road,
that
speed
they're
bumps.
going to have to
Right.
overcome. And I've had guys tell me, and I don't want to name names because it's unfair to them, when they've made the jump, other guys have said, especially in the second half, because they go in and make these adjustments because these are professionals. It's what they do. Now, I have watched him coach for 20 years, and to see the adjustments that he would make, and I would love to watch, especially a lot of times they would blow people out so he wouldn't have to do it. It didn't really matter. Right?
A lot of times.
Yeah, but not all the time.
But deep in the state tournament, there were some when he's playing a Sky Ridge, a Lone Peak, teams of that caliber.
And I was, every time that he coached up at Rice Eccles, I was there. And I was either on the sidelines or I was sitting up in a booth watching because it was cold out, depending on the day. And I've seen those adjustments that he's made, and you could see it in his play. I don't know what's coming. I'm not in there, but I see the plays that are different based on what they ran in the first half.
And the results.
And one thing that stuck with me, Alema Harrington made this comment. He probably doesn't even remember because he's been broadcasting the games for years. And I was watching some game at home, and Alema made this comment. He said, somehow Kjar always knows where the heat is coming from, and then he calls the play right where the heat was, but it's not there anymore. And the blitz is coming from the right side, so he calls a play over on the right side, and that space is open. He has a knack, and that's what's going to be so intriguing. I don't think he's going to go 12 or 10-0 in his first season. He's going to need some time. But Jay Hill, if you go look back, I think
2-10 his first year.
Yeah, right.
Right. And then his second year, he had a winning season. His third year, he was in the playoffs.
It was on.
Yeah, I think they went from 10th place to 4th place.
Right.
From first to second year.
Yeah, it was on. So, everyone needs time. Bronco Mendenhall needed that. Everybody needs that. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it there. They're going against people who do it full-time and do it at a high level. You turn on ABC this week, and it's the national semifinals, and Montana's playing Montana State, and they're the 2 and the 3 seeds.
Yeah.
The bar is so high. UC Davis was in the quarterfinals. They're the 3rd-place team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
The bar is high. And it was just a couple of years ago, I think they had 5 teams in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. It's a great league.
Right. Yeah.
I've been following it for 40 years.
So the bar is high, and the people have been doing it a long time, and they're good at halftime adjustments too. Because not only was he coaching track, but the other person was coaching track.
Yeah,
it's just, high school just has different requirements.
Or he had a roofing company or whatever.
Right, yeah. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, 8 o'clock hour, Tim LaComb is going to join us at 8:30. Talk about your Utah Jazz, who have won 5 of their last 8 games. And it's a Win Tickets Wednesday. We got concert tickets to give away. Stay with us. It's all coming up in the 8 o'clock hour.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are brought to you in part by Minky Couture. Get the best blankets and gifts ever and save 50% this season with the promo code ZONE50. Get yourself half off. Shop online at minkycouture.com or visit any of their 6 locations. Got a question up on our Facebook page, PK, and I got a surprising number of comments. The Knicks beat the Spurs to win the NBA Cup. What was your interest level? I thought the interest level was so low that it wouldn't even get comments.
Supposed to put it up late.
Caleb, the Knicks won something before the Jets. Okay, New York sports humor.
Well, No, they each got a title. Right around the same time. When did the Jets win theirs?
The Jets won Super Bowl III, so that would have been the 1968 season, 69 Super Bowl. And then the Knicks in 70 and 73, I think. New York teams had a run of success there because that's when the Mets broke through. Got their Jets, Mets, Knicks. Getting it done.
Well, I can remember being a youngster at that time, and man, the Knicks were on top of the world.
Yeah. Oh, they won it twice. Yeah.
Everybody loved the Knicks. And the style that they played and the way they did. And
the personality of the players.
Yeah. They were kings. They were beasts when I was a tyke back there, and I watched all those Knick games on Channel 9, I think it was, WOR, and I knew all the players, the whole thing. They were beasts. In the New York, the tri-state area there. It doesn't mean anything to me, but I'm not going to rip the NBA for trying it. Because if it doesn't work, it's not like they lost anything. I don't think they've gotten the bang for their buck, but so what? It was worth a shot. If they just said, okay, we're going to do away with it, it was still worth a shot. Because I actually appreciate that they know that they've got an issue, so address it rather than ignore it and try to sell us, oh, things are great, blah, 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 blah. No, we're just humming along.
Regular season doesn't mean a lot, and early regular season really doesn't mean much. So put the NBA Cup there and try to put a little energy in it.
Didn't the Thunder won the thing last year and then they won the title? Are the Knicks title contenders? Well, they are Eastern Conference winner contenders.
Yes. David Locke was on last week saying that he thought the Knicks were the pick in the East.
But that doesn't mean I view them as a serious contender to win it all.
I don't think he thinks they're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league either, but they're in the East.
Somebody's got to
go to the final.
Maybe maybe that's another thing that the league needs to do.
Seed at 1 through 16 and get rid of the conferences.
Yeah. Would that be so bad?
Get the best teams deeper in. No backdooring the NBA Finals with a subpar team.
But yeah, because it used to be, the National League didn't play the American League and all that stuff. But that's just all those people who held true to that, they're all dead.
We've moved on.
And you grow up with what is normal.
And nobody complains about interleague games. They're widely recognized as some of the most intriguing things on the schedule.
Attendance booms.
Attendance booms. The TV networks run right to them because they know people want to watch them.
And so if they did away with that, then maybe it wouldn't work. Maybe because it would work because at the same time, the NCAA tournament, Chris Dobiek said this years back, he said, the seeds you got to start the thing somehow. So they come up with these seeds. But, maybe after you get past the first round, the seeds, what difference do they make? Who plays better on that particular day? And so that's the same thing here. And that's something that maybe they ought to look at. I mean, they try. I give them credit. You can't be an MVP if you don't play in at least 65 games. Yeah. Right? They know full well there's an issue and a problem. And so with that in mind, trying to fix it. And even if you don't succeed to the highest level, well, at least you tried. And you didn't come up with something corny like this game here, 3-pointers or 4-pointers. Whatever. I mean, it's just off the top of my head. It's nonsense, obviously. So you don't want to trick it up to where it's stupid. And I don't think they're doing it. I don't think that it really matters as much and having a singular game, trying it. And now they're talking about moving it around, famous college arenas.
Butler Fieldhouse, Cameron Indoor, here we come.
But that's all you got.
I know.
Because there's no
that many
famous arenas.
College arenas.
Stadiums in football.
Pavilion. You going to go to Pauley Pavilion?
Not really. I mean, it's not that famous.
They're going to the Thunderdome at UC Santa Barbara.
Well, there's not enough people.
Okay, never mind.
But so out of the Hoosiers thing, and sure, what's Duke's thing called?
Cameron Indoor.
Yeah. I've been there.
Would they go to Rupp Arena at Kentucky or Assembly Hall at Indiana? I don't know.
Those aren't really famous.
When I heard that, I was trying to think, what are the most famous arenas?
There aren't any. There aren't enough.
Yeah.
They don't have their own.
Coming to the Marriott Center.
Well, that would be cool.
I know it would be.
But would they want to go where they already have teams?
I think the idea is to go somewhere different and make it look special on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana, Assembly Hall is, 2 hours maybe from Indianapolis, 3? I don't know. I haven't driven it. Something like that. You're not that far away. I mean, Duke's not that far from Charlotte.
Right, but it's a little farther.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of ways. But maybe the Huntsman Center where Magic and Bird played.
Ooh.
Sell
Get
that.
there. Get there before they replace it.
Yeah, well, we still got time. We'll be there next year. Keep trying, and the league has a blessing and a curse. I think the blessing is that the NBA playoffs, in my mind, they are really good. And you have these storylines that capture you for 2 weeks, and then you move on to the next round and so forth. And I think the NBA playoffs are great. Well, I think that the regular season in the NBA with football and now college football exploding, who really follows the NBA that much league-wide? Now, we follow the Jazz from day one because we have to.
Wes Post said, outside of watching Jazz games, I have no interest in watching any other NBA games.
Never, ever?
Apparently not.
Maybe
no
this time of year.
This time of year, I get it. Especially if you only have so much time to watch sports. And the thing that works, baseball always takes this hit, and I think it's kind of died down now, but it's like the numbers for national games aren't great. Well, it's like it's a sport where your team plays 6 days a week. If you're really into it and you're really into your team, you got a 3-hour game to watch 6 days out of 7, unless you have it 7 days out of 7.
Well, they use the speed up rules now. They've shortened it.
So, of course, 2 hours and 40 minutes. So, of course, you don't have as much time to watch a random national game. Of course you don't. Now, football, where your team only plays one time a week, well, you got time to watch your rival and see if they lose. You can watch college one day, you can watch pros another. There's time, and so all these other games have so much. Well, of course they do. Your team's only playing once a week.
You know where the NBA Cup has an opportunity to have some validity? If we get to 10 years and 8 of the 10 won the title in June, then that could be a barometer. Hey, if you do this, your chances of being last team standing in June might mean something. And so there will be more credibility. Keep an eye on it as far as that goes.
We're only 3 years in.
Right, yeah.
Lakers beat the Pacers in the first one, and the Pacers did end up having a deep playoff run. They were on to something. The Thunder lost to the Bucks last year, and then the Thunder won it all. So, to your point, are the Thunder arriving as a legit title team because they're in an NBA Cup final?
Yeah. And it just doesn't have to be the winner because on a one-game basis,
anything can happen.
Yeah.
Right. And the Spurs, they've got a bunch of good young players.
Spurs are clearly on the way up.
Clearly on the way up, but are they closer to the top than we thought?
Yes.
I would say right now, Oklahoma City's the big dog.
Yes, they are.
Denver and Houston look like the two most legitimate challengers, and maybe I should put San Antonio in that group.
I'm not sold on Houston.
Drop Houston to 4?
With Van Vliet going out, I don't know if they got enough guys.
Yeah.
We'll see. I could be wrong, obviously. Denver's Denver, and they have retooled a little bit now.
But given the playoff format, that's 4 teams in the West. By the time you get to the second round, you got me. I'm intrigued. I mean, the first round, we could still have some blowouts with some teams that just don't match up. By the time you get to the second round, can Oklahoma City repeat? Can Denver get a second one?
I'd put the Lakers in there, and they're coming to town tomorrow.
Well, the 4-5 series is usually good, so now you've got 5 good teams in the West.
Doncic, he took Dallas to the finals already. And so he can be a one-man, get-on-my-back kind of guy.
And if not for the whole thing, at least for a series, and make a second one interesting.
Right. I mean, they didn't win it. Was that when they went up against Boston?
They got beat.
They got there. Was it the Celtics one? But they did get there.
Yeah.
And so he's that good. So I'd put them in there.
And then that's it? Because otherwise now
West,
you're looking at, you're going by the standings. Those are legitimately the top 5 teams by record.
Yeah.
Minnesota's only a half game back of the Rockets right now.
I think that I can consider them. If I'm going to consider the Lakers and the Spurs, I think I have to consider Minnesota. I mean, Edwards is...
Then you're down to...
He's a player.
Then you're down to teams that are basically 500, Suns, Warriors, Grizzlies.
I would say...
No.
I would, on those, no. But if the Suns got in there, that would be a major accomplishment for them. For the Warriors, they're playing out the string.
Steve Kerr's in the last year of his deal. And
he wants out.
And he isn't signing a new deal.
He just doesn't want to say it.
Right. But it's clear where this is going.
Right. And Steph is a phenomenal player, a generational guy who will live on forever. But they don't have enough. Their problem is they had high draft picks and they whiffed on them. They did not get. They had a couple lottery picks.
And if they hit, maybe they can extend the run a little bit, but they didn't, so they
didn't.
don't.
They had 3, I think, and they didn't. Kuminga seems to be in Kerr's doghouse. Wiseman is out of the league, if I recall, and then Moody, no. So you had 3 high picks, and you didn't get any of them. I mean, that's the thing with the Jazz here, and we'll get to that as the season progresses. But I am more and more willing to let that pick go, because what does that mean? It means you just don't have the pick. That's it. But it means if you get the pick, it doesn't mean, oh my gosh, we got the pick. Look out now.
Maybe.
It's not,
I know.
Maybe look out now.
Yeah, right.
That's my whole point. Yeah. Maybe. And so do I want to not have winning at the expense of maybe? It's not good enough. The risk there, if I won too much, well, at least I won. So I got something here. I won. I know I got this over here. Mm-hmm. The pick, all it is a pick. It's not a player yet. And how do I know that player is going to be worth anything? Because I just told you this, the Warriors, who drafted extremely well because the nucleus of their titles teams were draft picks, and then over here they sucked at draft picks. So it's like a 50-50 thing here, at best.
All right, we'll get to that more because I think there are people definitely leaning the other way on that. We'll talk about that with Tim LaComb. He is going to join us next. It's a Win Tickets Wednesday, and Chicho wants to give them away right now. 2 tickets to see Youngblood. May 13th, UCC Youth Center in Orem. It's the Youngblood Idols, the World Tour. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. Tim LaComb, Jazz, win or preserve the draft pick. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are brought to you by Minky Couture. Get the best blankets and gifts ever. And save 50% this season with the promo code ZONE50. Shop online at minkycouture.com. Remember the code ZONE50. Or you can visit any of their 60 locations and get 50% off with the promo code ZONE50. Here is the question, PK, for your Utah Jazz, because they're all of ours, a state treasure. They're 10-15, but the bottom of the league is so bad that when you just rank teams 1 to 30, it doesn't really give you an accurate picture of the massive canyon you have to jump to get from the bottom of the league to the middle, or pretty good goal from the middle to the top of the league. So, yes, you can win games. I think a half-decent, below-average team can still win 30 games. And I think the Jazz are on their way to doing that right now. And they clearly have some pieces of the puzzle, and they're also clearly missing multiple pieces of the puzzle. I mean, Kessler's literally on the roster but can't play this year. And obviously they need some more players. But they're 10-15. I am sure they can get to 30. I'm not ruling out 35. The number of teams that want to dump games in this league, I mean, it's a half dozen off the top of your head, and it's probably going to be more as we get deeper into the season.
And I think there's more teams that have no choice but to lose. They're not good enough. New Orleans and Washington
The one deal with the Pelicans is they don't have their pick, so they don't get any reward for all this losing.
But it doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying.
But they're going to lose a lot because they're bad.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah. They're going to lose a lot because they're bad.
They have no choice but to lose. They can't help it. They can't win. The pick is irrelevant to them.
And the Clippers? You think the Clippers are that bad?
They seem to be going that way. Yeah. I was in California the other night and watching them against, who was it, Charlotte?
Yeah. There's two teams going nowhere.
And it's like, wow, the Clippers, you really suck.
Yeah, they do.
They seem like a mess, and the Clippers seem like it's time to reload.
Yep.
To go into a massive rebuild.
But somebody traded their pick away.
But
I know. They got to reload anyway, though.
So
I know.
Whoever gets the pick gets the pick.
Thunder.
Right. So
of
be
course.
it.
Sacramento, they can't help themselves. That's a bad team.
Well, they're talking about trading Sabonis.
Yep. Get something for him and start the rebuild.
Yeah.
You had one wonderful year, and now you're back to struggling.
And wonderful for Sacramento's sake. A wonderful.
A wonderful.
It was always a Jim Healy drop.
Wizards, Pacers, Nets, bad. Kings, Clippers, Pelicans, there's 6 off the top of your head. Now, that doesn't get to Charlotte, Dallas. That'd be 7-8.
Well, I think Dallas is really bad.
Utah, maybe Chicago. That'd be 9-10. And somebody's got to win when those teams play each other. So I don't want to get too fired up about the first 25 wins. They've really turned a corner.
No, I think you're looking for individuals who have turned the corner for the Jazz rather than the win total. You're looking for individuals who can help you win in the coming years, and it's to the point of basically irrespective of the win total. And obviously that number one player is George. Jorge is doing it.
Jorge. Hey, if you live in Casa Grande.
appeal to the
you live in Casa Grande, right?
Hispanics, right? Yeah. Their money counts.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. The money's all green.
And obviously that is a demographic that loves soccer, so get them into basketball. So, yeah, Jorge right now has looking like he's turned the corner. I think Flipper is in the process of turning it, but at a lower level. I mean, you can only turn the corner as good as you can be.
I think that you go down the roster, it is easy to look at a lot of these guys and see the progress they're making and say, I see how you can be a rotation player in the NBA. But I'm not sure I see a lot of starters, and I certainly don't see a lot of stars.
Well,
we always talk
I only
top
got
10,
those two guys. That's
top 10,
it.
top 20, top 50.
Those two guys can be players. And the others very well could become. But right now, I'm only going with two. One at a higher level than the other. Jorge and Flipper.
You got a new nickname today. It's going to happen if Tim LaComb showed up on time, but hey.
That's who I'm going with.
It's opportunity knocked.
Jorge and Flipper. Yeah. That's it. Markkinen's already there, so you don't need to show us anything.
Yeah. All right, DJ, PK, it's 97.5 The Zone, and we are joined by Tim LaComb. You hear him on Jazz pre-half and post-game shows. Tim, good morning.
We need the welcome back Cotter music right there.
Yeah, we tease him a lot because we got him on the spot. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Horseshack, your guy?
You're getting pretty deep into this show. This is an old show, dude.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh.
That was a group, though, a legitimate group who did that song, right?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I think it was.
I just dug it when I was a kid.
Right, but I think they were a prominent group.
Well, let's do a little research.
Yeah.
I'll get on that right now.
Like, nobody knows who sang Moving On Up for the Jeffersons, right?
But we should. It was brilliant.
Right, but that Cotter tune, I think it was a legitimate 67. Yeah, is what I'm getting at, yeah. I have to double-check that, but I think so.
How are my guys doing?
We are debating the exact point that you and I were talking about during the last game when I was camping out and invading your space. And that is these wins, the improvement of multiple young players is good. Led, obviously, Keontae George to be the headliner in that group. But there are other guys who are improving. The wins are great, but are they fool's gold because the bottom third of the league is so bad, either so bad because they can't help themselves or so bad because they like the top of the draft? So are these wins fool's gold, and do you really want them, or would you prefer to keep the draft pick even though maybe you end up drafting, sixth and you're not getting any of the three big names at the top of the draft? Where do you personally fall on this? Where do you think the organization falls on this?
I think it doesn't have to be either or. I think there's a blend of I think some of that happening, and I'm ecstatic about having watched this from the beginning of the rebuild, kind of the decision made to go down this road. I'm ecstatic with year by year just the development of guys. I think the big move early was Lowry coming over and discovering what kind of player he is. I think he was kind of lost in the shuffle of NBA transactions. And, the first step was understanding you got a bona fide guy that can do what he's doing on a nightly basis. And then obviously you open yourself up to the draft. And the one thing I've tried to preach for all my time on the radio is there is no, this is not like just ascending a board. Every guy's got different challenges. And, Keontae George this year is just having an absolutely meteoric rise. And, we talked about it on pregame a couple of times, but I said to Jake, he's playing different this year early on, but he still wasn't shooting the ball great. Shot percentages were not great. And we said it a few times, when these shots start to fall for him, when he starts actually making shots, because taking better shots this year and he's more intentional on what he's getting. But when those shots start falling, you're going to put up some crazy numbers, and lo and behold, we're to that chapter now. But, there are all sorts of different side stories, but I think the key is that the young guys, as hoped, are getting older, they're getting more wise, and they're getting better. And we're seeing that, on a nightly basis, whether you camp out in the studio or not.
Yeah, I was talking to Locke about this. The thing that I like about George, the point totals are nice, but I'm a huge guy in looking into guys' souls, which are translated a lot into body language. And his body language is remarkably different than what it's been. It's like, I belong here. It must have been like when he was 12, 13, 14, those types. And when he was dominating that level of competition, I assume he was dominating that level of competition. I did not see him play at that point. But it looks like he believes, I'm a man in this league and I'm here to stay, boys. Whether the shot goes in or not on a given night, I don't really care. It's that the next time he has the ball, it's the same type of mindset. His mindset that is manifest through his body language is something that's gotten me fired up.
Very astute. I think David and I did a podcast. I joined his illustrious Locked On podcast prior to the season. And one of the things we talked about as we went through each guy, it was time for Keontae. The time was running out. And I think so much of it was because he, first couple of years, he was trying to get acclimated in all sorts of ways. And the body language thing you mentioned is a major thing that has shifted. But I would dare say that most of what Keontae, where he is right now, most of it is because of the mental work and the shift in attitude, and
which he's talked about.
Making this more of a team game as opposed to a me game. And you had mentioned it from the time this dude was 13 years old, people knew he was going to play in the NBA and treated him as such. And, when you go for a myriad of years, in your formative years, where all people do, regardless of what you do, is give you stuff and tell you how great you are, it's hard to overcome that. And so I think there was some soul searching. I think there was some, obviously a ton of work on skill and strength, but I still believe that the yeoman's work that's gotten Keontae where he is right here is simply a shift in mindset.
So are you worried about losing the draft pick? And do you think
no, because
the Jazz are?
There's really smart people doing this, and I do get a kick out of everybody joysticking it at home on the couch with their Twitter handy, saying the front office is so these are very smart guys with the understanding of the magnitude of decisions, and I just don't sense that. Again, I think you can do both. I think you can win enough games and you can bring guys along naturally, but I also think they're always aware of the score, and they're always aware of all the details around the score. So I would tell everybody that's really pent up about that to find something else to worry about, because I don't think this will be a worry when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I'm worried about it, though, because I'm not worried about it, but I think there's a good chance that they can lose the pick. And it really has nothing to do with them. There are so many crappy teams in this league this year that you could be crappy, but there could be 8, 9 teams, 10 teams that are just crappier.
And I think that the level of bad, a truly awful,
right.
Just how are the Pelicans 5-22?
They suck.
Just awful.
Yeah. There's no way they're going to win 20 games.
I'm with you. I don't see how they do it either.
Right. I suppose you can say, well, okay, we had Phoenix down there, and Phoenix has just replaced New Orleans, so it's a wash. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's really early yet. I agree with you. The bottom of the league is growing.
Yeah, right.
It seems to grow every year that I do this. Until there's some actual systemic changes, which may never happen, this is probably something you fight. But again, the pick's really important. Losing the pick would be pretty tough. And so I just, like I've been saying over the course of the rebuild, guys are going to flower, and forget that pick. Look at where, you've got a number one guy in Lowry who can also, beauty of Lowry, he can be a 2 or a 3. He don't care, right? He's just going to go play. You've got a guy who's ascended now to the type of numbers Keontae's putting up nightly. And Coach Hardy made the point, we're still early in the season, so this has got to continue. This is an every night league, and you need to continue to see it. But my goodness, I think, his aggression level, his ability to score, his decision making, all those things have jumped. You've got a guy in Walker Kessler who's not playing this year, but he's an elite rim protector, shot blocker, rebounder. Ace Bailey's still, in his beginning. He's just trying to take root. But you see nightly some of the crazy things he can do. Look back a couple of years to, Trent Forrest coming off the bench as a real guy and, not having any kind of 5 outside of Rudy Gobert. And it's just crazy to me how, this has not been a short period of time, but this rebuild has been exactly what everybody hopes it to be. You're adding great talent. You're developing the veterans. And when you start to step back and look at that lineup, Keontae, Lowry, Walker, I think a guy who's definitely outpunched his trade value is Filipowski. I would call him a hit at this point. He had 25 and 9 the other night. And he continues to impress and inspire. I'm still heavily on the Taylor Hendricks bandwagon. He's still fighting some injury gravity, but he had a really nice stint the other night, and I think he's a viable guy. So again, you look at what you're accumulating, you look at the picks that still exist and the cap space. We're right on the verge of things getting pretty exciting here, guys, I think.
How about Will Hardy having to scream to play hard, though? That was a red flag.
Oh, man, I think you could probably snip NBA coaches from time to time and get that from just about everybody. Human nature is we're all built to try to find the easiest route. And NBA players are no different on a nightly basis. Sometimes you got to have your head put back on. So I know that got viral and everybody went crazy about it. But what I love about that is it doesn't show Will sitting on the bench prior to a game with his arm around a guy, chatting him up for 20 minutes, And so I think that's the beauty of this is I think Will is a guy who has got respect in that locker room. He can do stuff like that because he puts in the time.
We just were talking about the NBA Cup, San Antonio and New York. Does that announce to you, it doesn't have much value by itself, it's only its third year, but does that announce to you that either one of those teams is ready for deep playoff runs the way the Thunder, before they won the title a year ago, they were in the NBA Cup final, announcing themselves like, we're here, we're no longer the young team on the rise, look at us?
Partly, but I think that's what the NBA Cup brings, which I really like, is it ramps up competition early in the season, which you don't get to see. But you watched that game last night, the last few minutes, particularly when everything was on the line. I mean, those teams were really going after each other. And so I like it from that standpoint. I think it does give teams that are on the rise, a little feel of just a teeny feel of what the playoffs are going to feel like. But definitely guys raise their level. And I think if we could get rid of the floors going forward, that would be a big step. I don't know that they're all that necessary. But I like the idea, and I think it's been successful. Last night's game was great, and I think those are two teams that in the Knicks, that's a veteran-laden group with big-time star power at the top, and they've juggled a little bit with coaches and bench and all that, but those guys look like they're having a lot more fun playing for Brown than Tibbs. It reminds me a little bit of when Majerus left and Giacoletti came in. Really well-schooled veteran dudes in New York, just like, the Utes. But then when somebody comes in and can make it fun, a little more fun, less arduous, I think that's when that team, like the Knicks, look like they're playing with new life, and definitely a little more rubber on their shoes. They're not having to play as many minutes each guy with Tibbs gone. So yes, long answer, but I'm a huge fan of the Cup. I think the Spurs are, when you look at the Spurs and OKC and the future of those two organizations, that's scary as hell, for the West, because those two teams they're really good right now, but they have all that ability to get better. So it's an uphill slog for sure if you're in the West, but hasn't it always been? Seems like it's always been.
BYU has Final Four aspirations, right? A.J. DeMont's obviously is talking about winning it all. As I've watched them play, I've been to 3 games, and I've watched start to finish another 5 games, including against Pacific. So that's 8 games total, and certainly as the time goes on, I'll get down to the Amerit Center even more, and we'll have more evaluations once we start league play, which is just right around the corner, obviously. With that in mind, the thing that I think or 2 things I think that could stand in their way are lack of big men underneath, and I was texting you about that the other day, And I'm a little leery of the bench. I think that KY can develop the bench a little bit more because he has to. So I think understanding of something that he has to do, he will do. But the bench and maybe teams coming up with offensive rebounds are the two things that's got me the most concerned.
I think that those two probably are if you look at this team, first and foremost, I think they've been awesome with one loss, in a frantic comeback to UConn, who's showed that they're very, very good again. No surprise. But I think I'm most impressed with this group's collective intent to win. And sometimes, particularly when you get a really high-level guy or two, winning is always important, but sometimes it becomes secondary to getting yours. And, with the way that this group was kind of put together, and particularly early in the season, Rob Wright, to me, early in the season, maybe did a little too much dribbling, and I had to kind of warm up to that dude, but obviously he's nails. The big shot in Madison Square Garden shows you kind of what his capabilities are. But I think their ability as a group to make winning the most important thing through all this would be what I'm most impressed with. I think star players can kind of take a team in different directions, and I've really been impressed with all of the hype that AJ, got, but what he does, in that way, the gravity that he pulls the team in to win, and not necessarily for him to look good. And then I think their coaching has been out of this world. Coach Rose was at the game, Madison Square Garden, and sitting kind of close to the bench.
Oh, yeah. I texted him. I said, my gosh, I thought you were one of the 20 coaches that they've added to the staff.
Yeah, exactly. If he was wearing that polo or whatever they were wearing, he could probably got paid for the day, or at least get per diem. But he's sitting there, and he texted me, and he said, our guy can really coach, He's like out of timeouts. You see what he's trying to do, the plays, sets, and the way that he highlights guys. Like, this dude is really, really good. And so they've got that little component. And yeah, the weakness probably is a combination of extra size and depth. But I think that was maybe a little bit of the issue early last year, at least the depth piece. And KY, kind of like an NBA guy, he uses opportunities to get guys better, uses opportunities to get guys a little feel. But all those things are for what you said, to develop the bench. And so I think the Final Four is definitely in the cards. It's always a seeding thing and a matchup thing. But if they can continue to take care of business and get a good seed and the matchup's good, for all the reasons I mentioned, I think with the star power and the way they're aligned and the coaching and everything else, as good a chance as ever, right? And I think it's been a really, really good thing, the shift in this program. Historically, BYU struggled to get that high level star power, and they've got that, and so now it's a matter of trying to get this team as good as possible through the crazy gauntlet is the Big 12 coming up here. But I'm excited for the spring. I'm excited to see what this team can do. And, I was a little bit skeptical coming in with AJ, watching all of his tape and trying to figure out how they're going to deal with all of this. But, man, the kid's been really mature, and they've handled it great. So I'm excited to see where it can go.
I can't believe you used just half the phrase. You just said per diem. I think you meant Pat Riley per diem, the full phrase.
Oh, Pat Riley per diem. I was never privy to. I was always just Tim LaComb per diem, and
yeah. But if Rick Majerus didn't,
season, like when you went to the NCAA tournament back in the day, your per diem jumped from $15 a meal to like $60.
Wow!
And so you were definitely at that point. You were in Fat City.
Rick Majerus,
which was just a little food court down the street.
Rick
Majerus
used to drop Pat Riley per diem all the time. He must have heard some deal that Pat Riley cut because he would never let that go. I thought you must have been inundated with that.
And then this dates us. There's lots of people driving around that probably don't even know who Rick Majerus is. But one of the first times I ever went to lunch dinner with that dude, it was like I was in shock because the waitress came out and there was kind of a table next to us that wasn't being used yet. And Majerus was like, can we use that table? And I was thinking, are we inviting more people? Like, why are we using our table? Then I saw him order. And I realized that extra table was for 4 entrees he just wanted to try. They were just like part and parcel of the meal, but they weren't the main meal. They were in the holding area on another table until he was ready for them. So, man, that was a whole different deal. But sorry, I had to throw that in there. Dude could eat.
All right, we got to run, but as we go, PK was right. John Sebastian from Lovin' Spoonful sang the theme to Welcome Back, Kotter. So there you go.
Welcome
to bring it full circle.
Welcome back. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Jim.
PK, start singing all day to bug him. See ya.
Tim LaComb, you hear my Jazz games, pregame, halftime, and postgame. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. More football next. Stay with us right here on The Zone.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Mr. Mack, Utah County High School Player of the Week Award. This week, the winners are Sutton Villa from Pleasant Grove High and Jamin Sondrup from Springville High. Villa tallied 20 points, 8 blocks, and 7 boards in a win at Skyridge, and followed it up with 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks in a 52-40 win over Farmington. Sondrup notched 27 points and 19 rebounds in a win over West, followed by 24 points and 18 boards in a blowout win over Fremont. The Utah County Player of the Week Award, proudly presented by Mr. Mack. No one buys, no one sells, no one cares the way they do. Absolutely no one.
Yeah, 0. Does Honey do the Christmas card thing?
Yep.
Okay, my old lady does too. And so we got a little picture of the family taken in southern Utah.
Yep.
With the dog.
Okay.
Nice picture. 3 of us and an animal. And on the lower right side, in gold, kind of have to look at it. Nice photo. It says, from the Yamadas. You got the freaking name wrong. The Yamadas.
You going to send them out?
I said send them.
I think if you just cross and then get hands on it, I think you'd have that's the Christmas card all your friend group will talk about. They won't be talking about anybody else's Christmas card.
The Yamadas.
It'll be yours. That's a great story.
Yamada.
I wonder if this says the Kinahans or they doubled up on that name.
Well, she called them and they're redoing it. The Yamadas.
How do you spell it?
Yamada.
All right. Ooh.
Do we look like the Yamadas?
They might have some money. You should get to know the Yamadas. First thing that came up was Yamada Consulting Group, USA, headquartered in Tokyo, offices across Japan and throughout Asia and the Pacific, including Singapore, Indonesia, India, Thailand. Wow.
Right, so that's
nice.
Likely an Asian name. Which likely means the people are Asian. I'm not Asian.
Which likely would not be you. There are some visual clues. Got to be able to figure that out.
Right.
Whoever put that name on that card clearly did not look at that photo.
Come on.
Put it together here, people.
We're standard Caucasians here.
DJ and PK, Miami, changing quarterbacks, but not the guy a lot of you want to see. We'll get to the football next. Stay with us.
Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week. Sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. Football season, PK, winding down, but there's a little news here and there. The NFL's got 3 weeks left. Miami's eliminated. Tua Tagovailoa is coming off a lousy performance at Pittsburgh. They got nowhere to go. They got a couple of young quarterbacks they could take a look at. So they are benching Tua Tagovailoa, who really struggled in the first 3 quarters in Pittsburgh. It did not go well there at all. 6 of 10 for 65 yards with an interception in 3 quarters. So he's sitting, but Zach Wilson isn't getting the start. They're going with Quinn Ewers, 7th-round draft pick, a rookie.
That stings for Zach and Zach's fans for sure. Yeah, I was hoping it would have been him. We get to see him play, but no.
Well, there's 3 games left. Let's see how it goes for Quinn Ewers. Maybe there's still a chance to get out there.
Yeah, but I don't know. You can put him out there and expect him to walk on water in the first game. If you're going to play him, you got to play him. So with that in mind, this doesn't look good for Zach and his future in Miami or maybe the league.
Mitch Harper covering BYU for KSLSports.com says the BYU and Cal, their series, 2-game series has been canceled after the ACC went from 8 conference games to 9 conference games. So BYU now needs a game for September 12th next season.
Yeah, that's what SMU had said with this increase in conference games, that they had to put the Baylor series on hold, and they'll look to try something down the line maybe. Obviously, 2 in-state teams there in Texas, so that is going to be an intended consequence of the league's decision to increase the games. Now, it's not for everybody. Some of there's like 4 teams are playing 8. I mean, they announced it yesterday.
Yep.
It seems awfully screwy to me.
And they'll always have to be one that plays 8 because they got 15 teams.
I thought that's 17.
Then because they have 17 teams.
Is what they were saying. But the point being they have an odd number.
They have an odd number. Yeah. So there'll always be one team playing 8.
Don't the Utes want to join the ACC? What do they want?
No, I think that'd be the Big Ten.
Oh, the Big Ten. I get those 2 conferences confused.
I don't think you do.
So, yeah.
Well, maybe BYU will get fortunate and find a good game because other schools will be dropping games, but the dates have to line up.
Ohio State.
We'll see. I think Michigan State maybe is a team that might get cut loose in all of this if you want a Big Ten opponent. But I don't know if the dates line up and do they want to play you or are they going to go find a bye game? So,
play Utah twice. Games. Like the Pac-12 did last year.
Oregon State and Washington State played a home and home last year to fill out that November schedule.
And then one year when BYU was independent, didn't they have to play New Mexico State twice? Didn't they have a home and home?
They definitely played down there. I can't remember if they played in the same season or consecutive years. I definitely remember a game down there. They threw the ball. I'm trying to think who the quarterback was.
James Lark.
Oh, was it Lark?
Yeah.
Came in and lit it up.
Yeah. And like his only significant playing time of his entire college career. Yeah, right. I think that's who it was. So with that in mind, yeah, that's something that they're going to have to do. I just wish they would move towards more in as much uniformity as possible. The stakes are too high to have it scattered, but they don't want to do it. Actually, instead of, I get reducing a position, reducing the commissioners, but maybe just put somebody above them so you have like league presidents and you still have someone or somebody, not body being plural, that is above the commissioners.
The 4 conference commissioners get together. It's like a joint chiefs of staff thing with the Pentagon.
Heads of the 4 conferences.
That's right. And then they rotate. And you're on a committee, and you're the chair of the committee for 2 or 3 years or something.
Yeah, but you're going to always do something that's in your best interest.
Yep. Scheduling is inching towards uniformity. Everybody plays 9 conference games now, and 3 of the 4 power leagues are requiring a 10th game against a Power 5 opponent. The Big Ten is the outlier in that. They're the ones who haven't said, you got to play a 10th big-time game. I mean, some of the teams do. Ohio State just signed that home and home with Texas, obviously, and just played them in the opener.
Oh, and they have.
So some schools are doing it,
Yeah.
but many schools are not.
But the steady diets of Akrons and all this stuff.
Beating up on the MAC doesn't prove much.
Yeah, it just becomes
But
boring.
They want 7 or 8 home games, and they want wins, so they do it. But I'm with you, it's boring. And I think that's where, for as heavy a hand as the TV networks can have at times, that's a place where you would think that the Big Ten has deals with Fox, and Fox has sublicensed it to CBS and NBC and sells those two networks games, and they'll all be like, more good games, please. Schedule somebody. Let's do something interesting.
Right.
The country doesn't want to watch Ohio State pound, Toledo or Bowling Green or whoever.
Oh, no. Being a Ohio State fan, it's like wake me up in November.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is just a snooze fest. Maybe a game, maybe 2 games, and then you're going to win. It's like when BYU, Utah, and TCU were dominating the Mountain West. I mean, all those other teams, It was just from a competitive standpoint, it was like, oh, my gosh, this is pretty boring. I mean, we pretty much know how much is it going to be. We don't know that, but we know who's going to win, and that becomes, I'd much rather go to the stadium and know the outcome.
How many Ohio State games this year were decided by 17 points or less?
Oh, I would say 10. Oh, I thought it said or more.
I see where you're going, though. You were close. Of their 13 games, 11 were decided by 18 or more.
Yeah.
2 were decided by 17 or less. They lost the three-pointer to Indiana in the Big Ten title game and the season opener against Texas, 14-7.
14-7, yeah. I would like some competition. I mean, that's got to be, if you're a fan, I mean, if you know you're going to win and win big, why bother? It's a complete and total mismatch. And that, to me, I was just talking with a U of A fan saying, it's more fun when both teams are good.
Mm-hmm.
Just to watch lopsided competition.
Yeah. If you bought season tickets at Ohio State, they had 7 home games this year. There were 2 of them that were interesting and 5 of them that you absolutely knew they were going to win.
Yeah, and so then you have fans not going. They sell them.
Yep.
And then you have other fans, I can get a ticket.
This is
one game.
Yeah, I go to one game a year, and I can buy a ticket to see the Minnesota game.
Right.
Because I know, or Rutgers or UCLA.
Right.
Those games aren't going to be good. They had Penn State and Texas. There had to be some anticipation for those 2 games. But other than that.
Yes, and I was down in where I lived in the South Bay in L.A. area that game because the Utes were playing in the Rose Bowl that night and got down there early. And sure enough, there was a couple of Hermosa there. They've got seats that come outside. They've cordoned off the area years ago. Used to be a street. Now you can have an outside seating. And the place was packed. The place was packed with Buckeye fans. And I told the story. You park up by Sepulveda where you can get free parking if you get there early enough. And I know it's kind of off the path, but I know it because I live down there. And then you walk down, and when you walk down, you can't see the place, but you could hear the noise.
Yeah.
And I was with some friends. They said, what's that? I said, well, that's either an Ohio State or a Texas-dominated bar. And then when we got into the vision of it, it was Ohio State. And they were...
But it's just too much noise in that neighborhood for it to be anything else.
Right, at that time of morning.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And so my point is, if they're playing Chico State... is that place going to be packed like it was? Businesses probably want it too.
Yeah, you're right. Businesses do want it
to have that. And I suppose, from the TV perspective, that's the difference. The stadiums are going to be sold out. And I saw a thing on the budgets that the teams with the highest budgets are the ones that are largely into the playoff this year. It's what Kyle Whittingham said
a long time ago, right? Yeah.
And that's what it's going to be. And I wonder, the game is more popular than ever. Dillingham was talking about that just the other day, and he's right. But I wonder how long it'll stay. And especially if you have others just drop off. Like there's a lot of people I saw on social media, if ASU's their management, president, but if they don't give Dillingham what he wants and he leaves, they're out. And I get that because he was the breath of fresh air, and you finally got somebody who's one of your own, and has a chance to get 20 wins in 2 years. You take that from that program that hasn't done that since the 70s. And Frank Kush, that's a long time ago, man. That's 50 years. And so he has an opportunity if they win the bowl game to get that, to right on the button, 20. And so you take it, wow, that's a real good building block. But if he takes off and leaves because, hey, I want to stay here. I've told people I want to stay here. I've told them 25 times I want to stay here. But if they don't give me the money, I also want to win. That's what Kalani Sitake was saying when he said, yeah, but I'm a competitor, meaning they had to give me the money that we need to be competitive.
Right. There's that, and there's also, if you don't give me the money, everyone else is going to keep accelerating. I'm going to get beat, and you're going to fire me. And I am not going to stick around to have you not support me and then fire me because you think I don't win enough. Not painting myself into that corner.
I don't know that that's going to happen.
Ooh. I think the money's going to keep accelerating. I
think
but get going, or
their money will keep accelerating. So I don't know that they would ever fire a coach who won 7-8 games every year.
Got to get down to 5 or 6. That's what does people in.
Right.
It's the 5 and 6.
Yeah. If you're going to be a program like that, which hasn't done much consistently, literally in the 50 years, if you're playing for a shot at the playoff or to get to the conference title game in November, does that guy get fired? I mean, who are you going to get that's going to be any better? That's what we asked with Penn State. Okay, you got Campbell, and Campbell's a nice coach, but is he going to be better than Franklin?
We do not know.
I wouldn't think so. Unless they turn around and gave him way more money to run the program. Now, they're going to be good, but are you going to be what you're looking for? Are you going to be Ohio State? Because that's the goal, is to be Ohio State. No. But you're going to be really good.
Yeah, and with the new bigger league now, are you going to be 6th? I mean, I wouldn't think that Penn State would ever fall to the bottom because you're going to be good. But USC, Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana is apparently in the mix for the foreseeable future. It's like they were unhappy being 2nd or 3rd in the conference, but there's no guarantee they're going to stay 2nd or 3rd in the conference, as they found out this year. Now, this year, maybe extreme outlier, but nonetheless, I mean, how many of those teams are going to play? They don't play each other.
Yeah, but at the same time, they needed a toe and the final seconds to lose to Indiana.
Yeah.
So how far off were they? And Indiana's all that. And there was a remarkable play in the back of the end zone, literally a big toe.
Right.
That got down.
Got to zoom in to see it.
Yeah.
And they did. Thank goodness for technology.
So he didn't need technology, man. The referee called it live.
Yes, you're right.
And good for him. He was standing right there. He saw it, boom, raised his hands, touchdown. And then it turns out, I'm thinking, wow, man, that's really close. I was watching it.
Because it was really close.
And about literally as
that's
close as you
when
can
the technology came in. They zoomed in and showed you the ref got it right.
Yeah, so does that mean that they're that far? I just wonder, changing coaches like this constant changing coaches, because they've already, if you use the Devils as an example, they've already done that for 45 years.
Yeah, but we need a significant test.
Did that matter? Did they get anything out of it? Now, what they should have done probably is not hire those guys in the first place. I'm not saying dismissing them was wrong, but it was just this perpetual cycle. You get 5 years, you have one good season, you can't sustain it. I mean, it was you could set your watch by it. And now this dude comes in. I don't know that he would get fired, but everybody wants to win at the highest level. If you don't want to win at the highest level, I don't want you in the first place. And so what's it going to take? The only thing it's going to take in Tempe is money. They sold out every game. They got everything else. They got the weather, blah, blah, blah. It's the money to compete at that level. And if they don't do it, he's gone. And if I were a diehard fan, I wouldn't be objecting, say, what's the point here? Why am I going to invest my money when you're not going to invest your money? I'm out. And if we have more of those fans do that, I wonder if this is just going to be a select few. In 20 years, where is this sport going to be?
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Time for the Slacker Radio headlines. Brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. We had Eric Kjar on early this morning, the new Weber State football coach, who, and this will perk up the ears of a lot of parents across the state of Utah, thinks there are a lot of overlooked football players who can help him win at Weber State and compete in the Big Sky, which is loaded year after year. At that level, it is an awesome league. Montana State played for the league title, and now they're going to turn around and play in the national semifinals Saturday afternoon. And UC Davis was in the quarterfinals. In other years, they've had 4 or 5 teams in the playoffs. And it wasn't that long ago that Jay Hill had Weber State in the playoffs. And Eric, you can hear the interview wherever you get your podcasts. Go to YouTube, KSLSports.com, wherever. Eric talked at length about his relationship with Jay Hill, how Jay did it, his belief that there's a lot of good high school coaches in Utah who are producing a lot of good high school players who can become good Big Sky players.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. And Weber State has an opportunity to do something really good with Eric, and he has something to prove at this level, because he's proven everything at the high school level 1,000 times over. Yep. And so now get that opportunity to step it up there. And, you can get out-of-state kids, too, offer them these scholarships and then come in. And some of these places in the Big Sky, the more remote areas, well, Ogden is not a remote area, and that could work to their advantage. And to get, man, if somebody had called me, if I was a high school kid or I was a parent of a high school kid and I've got Eric Kjar telling me I want your son to come play with me, I would drop to my knees and sob. I mean, that would just be awesome. So, and it would be really, really cool to see Weber State do some great things in football like they did with Jay. When Jay took those teams to the playoffs, I watched every game.
Oh, yeah. It was must-see TV.
Yeah.
All sorts of people were talking about it. People who didn't go to Weber State, never talked about Weber State, they were suddenly into it.
Right, because a lot of those kids that go to those types of schools, they're really good players, but they just might not be 6'4".
Right.
But their skill level and their determination and their will to compete is just as good as anybody else's. So you got that going on there. So they deserve that opportunity to play, and that would be really, really cool. And I've known the guy for many years, obviously, and so I'm hoping that he knocks it out of the park. I mean, that's when you know you're getting old, that I have relationships with from BYU to Logan and everything in between.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're tied into 4 schools.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
I know personally. And when you get advanced in this business, it's not necessarily about teams. It's about the individuals that you want to see do well. Yeah. I mean, I got to the point where if it would be NAU versus Weber for the marbles, I'd probably go Weber. I don't know anybody at NAU.
Right. Not anymore. There was a time.
Right, yeah. And they were my classmates. But this guy, I want to see him really take off. And then, so he does it for 5, 6, 7 years and then goes to Logan.
Could happen.
Yeah, judging the time frame.
If Bronco were all done?
Yeah, in his mid to late 60s, maybe he would want to step
Bronco
aside.
decided that's it for me.
Yeah.
Then that would set up.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Jay Hill route, coordinator to another school.
Sure, yeah, because if he does well in 4 and 5 years, well, now you've proven it at 2 levels. It's not a fluke.
Right.
It's about you. You are really good. And I just love the it's hard to call him an underdog, but an out-of-the-box thinking and trying this opportunity here and having someone who is completely local. Because now we got all 4 guys. This
Local.
is home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they know the state inside and out.
And now, certainly, I would think that would be a factor in the thinking. But there's also a whole logic out there in college football. Like, it is hard. Entertainment's super competitive. So you'd better play an entertaining style of football. Corner Canyon goes up and down the field and scores a ton of points. And we talked to him about the offense. He said, certainly have a good quarterback. But in the interview, Eric Kjar talks about the run game. The run game's really effective. The passing game feeds off the running game, and we get a lot of big plays. Now, they throw it so well at the high school level, and the quarterbacks have been so accomplished. Of course, everybody's eyes go to that. But he just wanted to underline, like, hey, you got to be good at running the ball. So you hear a little bit of the be physical stuff that we hear from Kyle and everybody who ever coached for Kyle. And he's got a little bit of that, too.
Yeah, well, Corey Canyon's had some great linemen over the years.
They have. They've had a lot of D1 linemen over the years. They've had multiple guys recruited. And so now take that, be entertaining, and maybe put a few more butts in seats. And also, the Big Sky, and it's funky, and you brought this up with him, most Big Sky schools are the third team in their state. So when there's a pecking order for talent, Northern Colorado is behind Colorado and Colorado State. Northern Arizona is behind Arizona and Arizona State. Eastern Washington is behind Washington and Washington State. And Idaho's a little different with Idaho and Idaho State. They got two teams at that level, with Boise State obviously getting the best recruits in the state.
Yeah, plus Washington State is on the border.
Yeah, right, yeah. And as is Eastern Washington, right on the border. And then you get to Utah, and you got BYU and Utah State.
I know.
And then you got three Big Sky schools now with the other two coming in. The competition for talent is intense. Are there enough players to go around? And he got into using the transfer portal. You better embrace it. You better tell high school kids, I know you want to go there, but if you go there,
well, he comes in having put guys into the NFL from high school.
That's a different pitch than most coaches get to make.
Yes.
It is. It's a different thing.
Right. So he's developed NFL guys at multiple positions. He certainly has developed Division I high-level guys at multiple positions.
But Montana State tend to get the best players who want to stay in state.
Of course.
And they're in the national semifinals, and it's not an accident. They have the best recruiting pool. They've raised the money. The fan base is into them. Their stadiums are full. How do you compete with that? Throwing the ball around the way Eric Kjar's teams did at Corner Canyon might be a way to compete with that.
Well, yeah.
And Jay Hill's teams went toe-to-toe with him. I mean, they were either league champ or co-league champs 4 years in a row when Jay was there. And he had a couple other teams that went to the NCAA tournament that weren't league champs.
Well, that's a fan base who will come out. If you win, just like most fan bases, they'll get there. What are they, 17,000, 18,000 in that stadium?
They could.
Yeah. And they will, if he wins.
Jay was filling it up as it grew. The more they won, the more it grew.
I don't know that I'm ever going to root for a coach the way I'm now going to root for Weber.
Yeah. And you're right. People are already rooting for Jay Hill when he was there.
Yeah.
A guy, and I knew him. Our kids were in school together, and he grew up in San Diego like me. He had no ties to Weber State. And I called him one night about something. What are you doing? He goes, I'm watching Weber State in Maine. He was locked in.
Was that in the playoff?
Yeah, it was a playoff game. Maine
Friday
came
night?
out here, and he was watching. What are you doing? I'm watching Weber State in Maine. The weather looks nasty.
I remember it.
Yeah, he grew up in San Diego, and he was fascinated by it. And he had no ties. So you can get that going.
Yes, I believe they will.
Jay did, and now we'll see if Eric Kjar can do it. Super intriguing. Glad they make the hire. As I said earlier, maybe it'll work and maybe it won't. You never really know with coaching hires, but it is worth giving it a chance.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say it's worth gambling, but I don't feel like it's a gamble. I feel like it's a good bet, but there's no locks.
Well, a good bet is a gamble.
Yeah, okay, you got me there. Gamble usually refers to long shots.
Not necessarily.
No. In my world. That's how I thought of it.
The word bet
does suggest gambling. I got it. Yeah.
Which I never understood people say, hey, can you do this for me? You bet. What do you mean a you bet? What are you talking? That's a dumb response that we hear in Utah. You bet.
That's not just in Utah. I heard that in California.
Yeah, but I'm in Utah.
But it's a dumb response for people who aren't gamblers. Because
it's like, you bet?
You growing up around gamblers, you like bet, it means one thing.
Right. You bet.
When people say you bet, what they mean is certainly or absolutely.
Yeah,
or of course. Sure.
Yeah. You got it.
You bet.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Tell me what it is you want. Then we'll
dumb
see.
Response. You bet.
Hey, will you do something for me? Maybe.
You bet. What do you mean? I'm not going to bet. You going to do it for me or not?
Maybe. What is it? Also this morning we talked NBA Cup. It's over. The Knicks have beaten the Spurs. Have those two announced that they are in the hunt to dethrone the Oklahoma City Thunder? There's plenty of scenarios where they could both play the Thunder in the playoffs. That could happen.
What is Wembanyama's health? You know, Big Vic has had some issues here in, 2 of his 3 seasons. They've got an emerging talent, and then they freaking get lucky in the draft. My gosh. Sick of them getting lucky.
1, 2, and 4. They've drafted 3 times in the top 5 as they've rebuilt this team, and that doesn't count the other number 1 picks that you're referencing.
And here, I think the league really needs to take a look at this. They're like ham and egging it. Jump in all the way. If you got the number 1 pick, you can't get it again for 10 years.
You get the number 1 pick and they get hurt. Too bad. You get the number 1 pick in a bad year. Why this year?
Then trade it.
No, I'm not taking that thing. Hot potato.
It's too arbitrary here. And you got guys across the street who breathe and live this 24/7, and then they go in there and the lottery doesn't pay off for them. Now you can argue, they draft friggin' Exum and Cantor. So you got me there. And those were not good draft picks. Exum with the injury and
sure.
Cantor was not taking it seriously, or maybe he just wasn't good enough. I don't know. Either way, it didn't work, right? So what was he taking, 3? And that pick was basically a bomb. That sucked. But I would like to see them do something more to just because the tanking, the Jazz got fined last year $50,000. Does anybody care?
No.
Is it a black mark on the franchise?
Yeah.
No.
Most people would struggle to remember that it even happened.
Right. So put some teeth into these anti-tanking and de-incentivize it rather than have it be incentivized. And I think it's just going to keep going because it seems like, man,
if you're not,
this draft is awesome. Now, we've had like multiples.
If you're not in the top third of the league, you're either terrible or, because you're in the bottom third of the league, or you're stuck in the middle. And what a horrible place that is to be. We don't refer to teams that are stuck in the middle in a flattering sense.
No, but I don't think there's many teams stuck in the middle.
Atlanta Hawks, stuck in the middle. Philadelphia 76ers, stuck in the middle. It's probably not 10 teams. It's probably not the middle third of the league isn't all stuck in the middle. I mean, by middle third, the Jazz are almost into the middle third.
Right, so how...
Almost, yeah.
If you are ascending, being in the middle isn't bad.
Phoenix is in the middle third right now. But maybe that's not bad considering what was expected from them.
They haven't had a starting... Their original starting lineup has played 1 game.
The Warriors and Grizzlies are stuck in the middle.
Yeah, but they're on the way down.
They are.
They were up. Now they're on the way down. You're always going to have that. I don't know. Are they stuck?
Well, the only way to get out of the middle for the Warriors is going to be to go to the bottom.
Right. So, but they had a phenomenal run. Every franchise would trade middle to bottom for 4 titles.
Bulls and Bucks, a couple more middle teams.
Yeah, but the Bucks had it too. They won it all. Just because you're in the middle doesn't mean you're stuck.
It's a what have you done for me lately league.
And now go ahead and do some other stuff to make your team better. Yeah, they tried. They got rid of Lillard, they signed Turner from Indiana.
But what they usually do when they try to make it better now is just make it a lot worse.
Well, that's up to the management. That's how competent is your management.
It's not great for the league to have 10 teams scuffling along. A lot of bad product to hide and keep away from network TV.
Sure.
Which every league has. I get it.
You factor in injury, and there's so few players that are really, really good. The league is full of decent players, but it's not, I don't think it's full of crappy players, but it's not full of great elite players. And in this game, with so few numbers, those elite players are the difference makers. So you got to get them. They're just like aces in baseball.
There aren't that many.
You've got to, if you have them, then you are good to go. And then for all of the Dodger money, I mean, Yamamoto was a phenomenal signing.
And you can go right down the Western Conference standings and look at the Stars and see how true that is. Thunder, check. Nuggets, check. Lakers and Spurs are tied for third, check, check.
Right.
Houston went out and got Durant. He's our leading scorer now. So for now.
Yeah, I mean, he's older.
He is. Timberwolves, Ant-Man, Suns, Booker. Warriors are 8th. Curry. Teams that don't have guys like that, Grizzlies, Jazz, Blazers, Mavericks, Kings, Clippers, Pelicans.
Right. I don't know that anything can be done about that.
Because the world's not creating enough stars. By definition, they separate. And you either have them or you don't.
And I think that's probably been the case throughout league history. So, yeah, the league has certain things that are for it and against it, and this would be against it. If you can get one of those guys, particularly in the case of the Thunder, and you can get him in his early to mid-20s.
Away you go.
Yeah.
DJ and PK, your feedback next. Stay with us.
And now, enough of us. It's time to hear from you. From all your texts, tweets, and posts. This is the best feedback of the day.
Ooh, I was there. That's the best game of my life.
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. What do you have to say about today's show? The Knicks beat the Spurs to win the NBA Cup. What was your interest level? Mark, 0. James, the what? Huh? Anthony was in, though. JC versus Olynyk. Go, Jazz, go. Rooting for former Jazz guys.
Jordan Clarkson versus Kelly Olynyk.
Michelle, who works at Team Mountain West and University of Utah Health. I'm a Spurs fan, and I still didn't care. The NBA is not soccer. This is clearly copying the soccer format.
Well, I think, too, you're looking at a decades and decades and decades long history versus something that has barely started.
Yep.
How do we know what soccer was done back then?
Well, what we do know is it gave little clubs a chance to play big clubs when they weren't in the same league, and the NBA doesn't have that. There aren't little professional teams that get a chance to measure themselves, nor is it a game that really lends itself to that. Hey-oh. Yeah, put the Marriott Center in the NBA Cup. Let's see what... Put these college teams in that tournament, it would have more interest. Let's go.
The kind of cash that they're paying out, just ask the Pacific AD.
Oh, that got some comments, didn't it? And he went back to Twitter a couple hours later. Did you see that one?
He deleted it, or did he go back?
He did. So first the UOP, the Pacific AD, tough one for at Pacific Men's BB tonight. Good scheduling lesson for the future in this funny money age we're in. No point in playing this game at all. You're not even playing a basketball team, just walking bags of cash. Okay, he deletes that, and about 2 hours later, fair enough, BYU fans, I'll call mercy. My tongue-in-cheek tweet was not meant to offend. You all are a beast, and credit where credit is due. Simple economic realities of playing any top 10 team is something I think all of D1 has to contend with, considering scheduling moving forward.
Well, you didn't know that?
I totally agree with that. This is who BYU's been for 2 years. How long ago did you sign this game? Basketball isn't scheduled 4 years out like football.
Right.
I mean, football, BYU's now got a hole in the schedule next year. It's a problem. They're probably going to have a terrible non-league schedule. Maybe they'll find a good game, but the odds are stacked against them.
The bags of cash? Yeah. Isn't that why you scheduled the game?
Yes, to get your bags of cash.
Yeah.
You just don't want bags of cash for the players. It's absolutely a money game. There's no chance that there's a return game at the Spanos Center.
No.
What?
A BYU basketball team will never set foot in that arena again.
They ended that when they left the West Coast Conference.
Right.
Don't go to Stockton to play. There's no point.
Yes. And maybe a kid slipped through the cracks, but there's no way, DeBonza, you didn't know about that. He goes on ESPN to announce his decision. Right. Everybody in the world knew about that who follows college basketball. This kid is going to BYU. So you got your butts kicked, and you got your money, and you go on your way. So what? What difference does it make?
DJ and PK, we're all done. Jake and Ben are next right here on The Zone.